Chapter 1299. Rank 13. Human form rank 13 beast. As Wang Lin stood inside the sea of blood, his eyes lit up. He looked at the woman in black with the giant scorpion shadow before her. He immediately recognized that she wasn't a cultivator, but a fierce beast that had turned into a human once their cultivation reached a certain point. The whip shadow that had collapsed the blue light around Xianxia was obviously the tail of the scorpion shadow behind this woman in black. Without this tail, Xianxia wouldn't have been so seriously injured. She would have lasted until Wang Lin arrived. After seeing the woman in black and the scorpion shadow behind her, killing intent appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. He immediately saw that although she had turned into a human, her cultivation level was only equal to a cultivator at the second heaven blight. He didn't even answer her question before immediately charging toward the woman in black, leaving behind afterimages. When his body moved, the blood sword flew next to Wang Lin. His left hand grabbed it and he mercilessly chopped down. The expression of the woman in black changed. She had been injured by this blood sword before. She immediately retreated and opened her arms. The giant scorpion shadow behind her trembled and let out a howl. The 9 tails moved like 9 whips as they lashed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was ferocious, and he didn't stop at all. He stepped forward and waved the blood sword, causing a ray of blood energy to shoot out. There were sharp screams coming from the sword energy as it shot toward the 9 whip-like tails. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and the blood sword released a bright light and caused the sea of blood to form a giant vortex. As it swept forward, 3 of the tails suddenly collapsed. The blood light flashed, and the blood sword was invincible. In a flash, it directly cut off 4 whips. In the end, only 2 remained, and as they closed in on Wang Lin, he waved his left hand. Origin energy began to gather. He combined it with his ancient god power form, a heaven-shattering wind that collided with the 2 whips. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and the 2 whips shattered. After opening the seal, the power from the Tao fruit he digested allowed him to break through to the Nirvana Shatterer stage. He finally became a true powerhouse. He had also absorbed the ancient god aura at the everlasting sect and recovered all his stars. His 6th star had finally taken form, and even the 7th star had begun to show itself. Adding the bizarre blood sword refined with the blood of an ancient god, Wang Lin's fighting strength was beyond what it was when he fought Taoist water. Most importantly, the 5 essences in his body had awakened. Although they were very weak, they were constantly growing. It could be said that the current Wang Lin was the strongest he had ever been in his 2,000 years of cultivation. It could be said that the Wang Lin now had finally entered the realm of the strong. Whether he was in the inner realm or outer realm, he could become a ruler. You a mere rank 13 beast that turned human. You are not qualified to block me, to ask for my name. Wang Lin's clothes were blood red, and his even hair was red with blood. He stepped forward and charged like a blood meteor toward the woman in black. The woman's face became even more pale, and her eyes filled with shock. She thought the most difficult thing to deal with would be the blood sword, but now she realized that although this cultivator's cultivation didn't feel powerful, he had the strength to kill her. Seeing Wang Lin closing in like a meteor, the woman immediately retreated. Her hands formed a seal and she waved her hand. A dark whip immediately appeared. This whip was not a shadow, but real. It was covered in thorns, and at the end there was a sickle. What kind of whip was this? It was obviously a scorpion tail. The woman in black held the scorpion tail whip and lashed out. Shocking rumbles echoed as it lashed out, leaving afterimages behind. It seemed like it would rip the world open. It smashed down on Wang Lin as he closed in. Wang Lin sneered and waved his left hand. The blood sword flew out filled with excitement and chopped down at the whip. At the same time, Wang Lin's left hand pushed forward and origin energy gathered inside his eyes. Then his gaze landed on his left palm. He used his gaze as a replacement for his right hand that was holding Xianxia, and he used the spell he had learned from Master Lu Fu. Origin energy gathered and an unimaginable destructive power gathered in Wang Lin's left hand. There was also the power of an ancient god mixed in. Wang Lin pushed his left hand toward the woman in black, and the spell in his left hand shot out. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The palm print Wang Lin shot out shined brightly like the sun, lighting up the surroundings and then descending toward the woman in black. The woman's face revealed terror, and she let out a mournful cry. She ignored the scorpion tail whip and bit the tip of her tongue to spit out blood. The blood collapsed into a formation of blood mist that wrapped her up. Then she retreated like crazy. As she retreated, she leaned backward, and her clothes were torn, revealing her snow-white skin. At the same time, thorns came from her body as if there was a giant scorpion within her. At this moment, while she retreated, the scorpion broke through her body and charged out. However, the moment it came out, the palm print caught up and collided with the blood mist. A thunderous rumble and a miserable scream were heard. At this moment, the blood sword swept forward. The scorpion tail whip wasn't able to stop it at all and exploded. Wang Lin had overwhelming strength in the battle against the woman in black. She had no power to resist. It felt like before Wang Lin, she could only retreat, retreat, retreat. I am under the command of the Moon Ancient Imperial Concubine. If you dare to kill me, the Imperial Concubine will kill your entire clan. The miserable cry echoed from the retreating blood mist. However, this didn't make Wang Lin stop. He chased even faster. Kill my clan? My entire clan is dead. I am the only one left. You hurt this woman, so I'll take your life and refine you into a treasure so you can suffer endless pain. Wang Lin's voice was cold, and he immediately caught up. His left hand mercilessly slammed down. A thunderous rumble echoed. When Wang Lin's left hand slammed down, his eyes narrowed and he retreated a few dozen steps. The blood mist collapsed and there was a shocking force. A ferocious aura shot out, and the woman in black was no longer there. A giant black scorpion suddenly appeared. It was originally only a few dozen feet in size, but the moment it appeared, it began to grow until it was over 100,000 feet. The scorpion shadow behind it overlapped like a cultivator's soul returning to place. The moment they overlapped, a fishy wind blew by. There were flesh moving at the top of the scorpion's head, and it turned into a human face. It was the woman in black. She looked at Wang Lin with a venomous gaze and let out a mournful scream. The 9 scorpion tails waved and caused a thunderous rumble. It was as if the world was going to collapse. It screamed and charged at Wang Lin, filled with hatred. In addition to the 9 tails, the 2 large claws were also aimed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin was like an insignificant ant before the giant scorpion, but his expression was unchanged. He let out a cold snort as his left hand hit the spot between his eyebrows and his ancient god stars appeared. They rotated rapidly. As the stars rotated, ancient god power rushed into Wang Lin's body and his bones began to grow along with his flesh. His body grew to 100 feet, 1,000 feet, until he was nearly 10,000 feet tall. Rough skin, heaven-shaking aura, and that ancient aura. At this moment, an ancient god appeared in the world. Ancient god! After seeing the stars between Wang Lin's eyebrows, the woman in black revealed unimaginable fear. Wang Lin's eyes seemed to contain stars and shine brightly. He held Li Qianmei in the palm of his hand, and he stepped forward. His left hand formed a fist and threw a punch. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The giant scorpion trembled and its body was knocked to the side. Popping sounds echoed from the claw that collided with Wang Lin's left hand, and cracks appeared on it. The intense pain caused the person that created the scorpion to reveal a painful expression. Wang Lin didn't stop. He charged out once more. He caught up in an instant, and with one step, he landed on the scorpion's back. His left hand smashed down. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The scorpion let out a mournful cry, and the 2 claws collapsed. The 9 tails lashed at Wang Lin, but Wang Lin grabbed 2 of them with his left hand before jumping up. As Wang Lin jumped up, the scorpion wasn't able to break free from the power of the ancient god, and was pulled up. Wang Lin hated the scorpion to the bones. At this moment, he slammed the scorpion down. The scorpion was too big, and Wang Lin smashed it into a large group of fierce beasts. They all immediately died. However, it wasn't over. Wang Lin just held the scorpion's tails and dragged its body forward. He continued to smash it down and broke through the siege like this. The fear in the ferocious beast's eyes when they looked at Wang Lin was indescribable, as if they were looking at a rank 13 beast. However, they were slower than Wang Lin, and he also had the giant scorpion in his hand. He roared as he charged, and he used the scorpion like a weapon as he smashed fierce beasts with it. The scorpion became weaker and weaker. Even its miserable screams became faint. The mosquito beasts surrounding Wang Lin began to buzz violently. In particular, the Mosquito King stared at the scorpion with longing in its eyes. Finally, the weekend is here. And Leo can finally sleep to his heart's content, not needing to get up early to take the daughter to school. Been burning the midnight oil these past few days, utterly exhausted. Chapter 1300s, Ancient God Altar. You've injured her, so you have to pay the price. Wang Lin's voice was cold as he held the scorpion and threw it again. The two tails he was holding were suddenly torn off, and the body fell into the void. There were many broken parts on its body, and blood flowed everywhere. The moment it landed, the Mosquito King let out a violent hiss and charged out like crazy. When it got close, its large mouth stabbed into the crack on the scorpion's body. It inhaled and revealed an excited look. After this, the remaining 5,000 mosquito beasts rushed out and surrounded the scorpion. Their sharp mouths stabbed in and began to suck frantically. The scorpion's scream was miserable, as if it was her last struggle for life. However, the struggle was weak and couldn't stop the 5,000 mosquito beasts from absorbing her. Even Wang Lin felt his scalp tingle when he saw this. It only took a few breaths of time for the scorpion's body to wither and lose all her blood. Even her understanding of Tao scattered and was sucked away by the mosquito beasts. The Mosquito King let out a hiss and revealed a look of ecstasy. Its body trembled and its cultivation level increased greatly. Not only it, but the remaining 5,000 mosquito beasts all roared excitedly. After tasting the blood of beasts and absorbing their essences, they went through a frenzy of growth. Now they scattered and chased after the fierce beasts. If one was caught, they attacked in droves and sucked the beast dry. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze from the mosquito beasts and arrived next to the giant scorpion. He waved his left and ripped off the remaining 7 scorpion tails. He opened his mouth, spat out a mouthful of blue flames, and set the tails ablaze. As the fire burned, flashes of restrictions appeared in his eyes and fell on the tails. A moment later, the 9 tails fused into one, and it was placed into Wang Lin's storage space. Then his left hand formed a fist and landed on the scorpion's head, causing the head to explode, revealing a fist-sized black core. There was flashes of the woman in black inside the black core, and her face was filled with terror. If a rank 13 beast could turn human, it was like having 2 lives. Even if their beast body collapsed, they still had an origin soul inside their body. The woman was terrified while Wang Lin picked up the black core, and there was coldness in his eyes. His divine sense rushed into the black core, breaking through everything, and began searching her memories. Wang Lin gradually saw her entire life. He saw that countless years ago this scorpion was only rank 7, but she had seen a woman by chance. That woman pointed at the scorpion with her right hand to leave a mark and said one thing. "What an intelligent little beast. I name you Purple Blood. Become one of my beast generals and help me heal." The woman's figure was blurry, and she couldn't get a clear look. In the scorpion's memories, she was extremely respectful of this woman. Memories passed. As he continued to search, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He learned that there was a total of 19 beasts that could turn human. He found out that the size of the crack was boundless. Not even these fierce beasts knew what was deeper inside. They just knew that there were powerful beasts inside, and that they didn't easily come out. However, whenever they did, it would set off a huge wave. As for the origin of the crack, not even the woman in black knew. She only knew that she had been here since she was born. Wang Lin also found out that there was a restricted area deep within the spatial crack. The woman the scorpion respected was healing there, and a long time had passed. Wang Lin withdrew his divine sense and began to ponder. He understood that the place this place led to was likely not the outer realm like the demon sect had thought, but a mysterious place. For some unknown reason, when Wang Lin withdrew his divine after searching the scorpion's memories, he unwittingly thought about the spatial crack in the wind celestial realm. He remembered the giant Mosquito King struggling to come out of the crack and the chaotic world filled with mosquito beasts on the other side. Is there any connection between those two places? Wang Lin pondered for a bit before he stopped thinking about it. Instead, he turned toward the exit and quickly rushed over. Since Wang Lin wasn't sure if this place led to the outer realm, he wasn't going to waste any more time here. He had to rush back to the demon sect as soon as possible and go to the sealed realm formation. He had to find a way to break out and look for Tao Master Blue Dream. At the start, it was the fierce beasts sieging Wang Lin, but now he was hunting them one by one. As he continued his slaughter, he moved faster and faster toward the exit. Wang Lin's flowing time spell didn't waver at all. It was constantly activated, preventing Li Qianmei's life from extinguishing. Time slowly passed. As Wang Lin rushed through, the fierce beasts were slaughtered one by one, the mosquito beasts. The blood sword surrounded Wang Lin and immediately charged out when it detected a fierce beast. As for the 9 abyss dragon that was tamed, it had long escaped, and not a trace of it remained. Wang Lin was gradually approaching the exit according to the map in the jade. However, he was getting anxious because his flowing time spell was only slowing down Li Qianmei's loss of life, not stopping it. The slower he was, the lower her chance of surviving became. However, Wang Lin had seen the sealed realm formation before, and he wasn't very confident in opening it. The divine retribution didn't descend inside the spatial crack, but I can feel that it will descend the moment I leave. Perhaps with the power of the divine retribution, I can break through the sealed realm formation. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he flew even faster. However, when he was more than halfway out and was close to the exit, a soft voice slowly drifted toward him. "You are leaving in such a rush after killing one of my beast generals. You need to give me an explanation." This voice was very calm, but it appeared very abruptly. Even Wang Lin didn't notice. When the voice entered his ears, he suddenly stopped and turned around. A woman had unknowingly appeared behind him. She was wearing red and looked stunning as she calmly gazed at Wang Lin. Her eyes seemed to contain the stars and formed an invisible vortex that would attract one's gaze. "What explanation do you need?" Wang Lin's expression remained neutral, but his pupils shrank. His left hand reached at the void. A monstrous red light flashed, and the blood sword appeared. The woman's gaze fell on the blood sword. Her eyes revealed a strange light, and she softly said, "I recognize that sword. It once injured the celestial emperor. You are a royal ancient god who can wield the power of this sword." Wang Lin became cautious as he stared at the woman. The woman before him didn't feel strong, but he vaguely had a feeling that what he was looking at wasn't her real body, but an avatar. The woman played with her hair and softly said, "Don't be nervous. My original body is healing, so my avatar came. Although it is at the Heaven's blight stage, I may not be able to make you stay, and I don't want to become your enemy." Wang Lin didn't speak a word, and his expression revealed nothing, but he gripped the blood sword even tighter with his left hand. The woman looked at Wang Lin and softly said, "I am one of the ancient celestial emperor's concubines. My name is One Moon. The woman beside you has lost almost all her vitality, but looking at you, you seem to have a way to bring it back. I can make you stay, but I can prevent you from leaving for long enough that woman's vitality completely dissipates." Wang Lin's expression remained the same, but there was determination in his calmness as he slowly said, "If she dies, I won't leave this place. Instead, I'll slaughter my way to where you re-healing and kill you." "You can try." The woman's eyes revealed a look of admiration and she smiled. "That is indeed possible. How about this? I can send you out of here and give you time to resurrect that woman as long as you promise something." "What promise?" Wang Lin frowned. The woman looked at Wang Lin and softly said, "After you save this woman, you have to come back and help me heal. I won't make you come for nothing. I don't know what is in the depths of the spatial crack, but I know that there is an ancient god altar. You help me heal and I'll help you get to the ancient god altar. I presume you know what the ancient god altar is. I'll also make a Tao pact with you to guarantee that we will not be enemies." Wang Lin silently pondered. He didn't know what the ancient god altar was, but from the look of this woman she was very confident he would be moved. "Why choose me?" "Because you are a royal ancient god. Because you can control the blood sword that once injured the celestial emperor. Because you have the aura of someone familiar to me. I presume you have obtained his approval. Because you have 5 essences inside your body. Once your 5 essences reach completion, you can even battle the celestial emperor. These are my reasons for forming an alliance with you. If we are allies, I can give you similar benefits." The woman looked at Wang Lin while saying all of this. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. It was impossible to tell what he was thinking. The woman smiled and waved her right hand. A ray of white light floated toward Wang Lin. "With this jade, you can enter this spatial crack from anywhere, or go to the exit with it. I'll wait for you." After the woman finished, she turned and disappeared without a sound, just like how she appeared. It was as if she had only come to hand him this jade. After taking the jade, Wang Lin looked at the direction the woman went to and frowned once more. What is this person's purpose? What is that ancient god altar? While pondering, Wang Lin's divine sense swept the jade in his hand. The jade was very simple. It was only a transfer array, but it was extremely complicated. However, with Wang Lin's knowledge of restrictions, he could easily see that there was no danger. After pondering a bit, he sent a sliver of his divine sense into the transfer array in the jade. The divine sense disappeared in a flash and appeared at the exit to the spatial crack. After determining that there was no harm, Wang Lin suppressed his doubt toward the woman and disappeared in a flash of light from the jade. Deep within the spatial crack, there it was, a dark world with a hexagonal red crystal. The crystal was 100 feet tall. It was like ice, and there was a woman sitting inside it. The woman's eyelashes trembled, and she slowly opened her eyes. Her gaze pierced through the crystal and into the void. No one knew what she was thinking. Day in, day out, nearing 3,000 words, reading a lot, but can't force myself to split the story into 2,000 words chapters, because then the flavor's gone. Leo with tears in his eyes, longing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1301. Divine Retribution arrives. The thousands of cultivators were still sitting outside the spatial crack next to the demon sect. They were cultivating to recover their origin energy. They would occasionally open their eyes and look at the dark spatial crack. They were used to this kind of life, and they had spent many years like this. The 3 demon sect members surrounded by the blue light were also sitting in the distance, and they occasionally looked at the spatial crack. It had been almost 1 month since Wang Lin entered the spatial crack. For cultivators, 1 month was an extremely short period of time. Often one cultivation session could last for several months. However, the surrounding cultivators and the 3 people from the demon sect couldn't settle down to cultivate for a long period of time. This was because the spatial crack they were all familiar with had become extremely strange. The spatial crack was too silent to a terrifying degree, as if it was a dead realm. This occurrence was extremely rare throughout the countless years. Fierce beasts would always be roaring inside and rushing out, but now it was completely silent. Even though the spatial crack was silent, the smell of blood was constantly streaming out from inside. Although it was very weak, it was constant. It was as if a heaven-shaking slaughter had occurred inside the spatial crack and caused the entire world inside to become hell. The silence and smell of blood created an invisible pressure that continued to grow. This heavy pressure weighed down on the hearts of all the cultivators, making it impossible for them to settle down. Just at this moment, a ray of green light came from the spatial crack. The moment the green light appeared, everyone's gazes gathered. The green light scattered, revealing the old man among the 6 geniuses. Several days ago, he had decided to sneak into the spatial crack to check what was happening. No one had stopped him, because everyone wanted to know what was going on inside the spatial crack. Now that the old man had returned, his face was filled with shock, disbelief, and fear. The moment all the gazes gathered on him, the old man said in a hoarse voice, "It's filled with corpses, all corpses of fierce beasts. They are all fragments and were pushed out by a force deep inside the spatial crack. I didn't enter too deep due to the thick scent of blood. I can feel that due to too many beasts dying inside, a sea of blood is formed in the depths. There are beasts of every rank, even king beasts. All of them were killed with one blow and their bodies exploded." The old man's words caused the expressions of all the surrounding cultivators to change greatly. Although they had some speculations, they were still shocked. This must have been caused by the cultivator that went inside to save Xianxia 1 month ago. That person's cultivation is mysterious, and he was able to cause such a calamity inside the spatial crack. It's just that all of this is too shocking. No matter how powerful he is only one person, but how could he cause such a slaughter? Even the demon sect elder was not a match for that cultivator. The elder even suffered hidden injuries by that cultivator's hand. But no matter how shocking his strength is, I don't think he caused it. After all, there are too many fierce beasts inside, and he can only handle so much by himself. It is likely that a new emperor beast was born, or a new humanoid beast was born. The fierce often fight amongst themselves, or it could be a mysterious new emperor beast. After the surrounding cultivators heard what the old man said, an uproar erupted. They all looked at the spatial crack and became more vigilant. The 3 people from the demon sect also had serious expressions. One of them took a jade out to report back to the demon sect, But a huge change occurred in the space outside the spatial crack. Due to the bright nebula lighting up the dark space, a bit of darkness wouldn't affect the visions of cultivators. Everything was visible to the cultivators. However, everything seemed to darken, and a powerful pressure came from all directions. This pressure was powerful and seemed to gather from all directions. The moment it appeared, cracking sounds echoed. It was as if space itself was being compressed by this pressure. A portion of the cultivators with lower cultivation levels immediately turned pale. Popping sounds came from their bodies, as if their bones were rubbing together. They coughed out blood and suffered injuries. What is this? The expressions of these thousands of cultivators immediately changed. They spread out their energy to resist this pressure and then immediately looked up. They saw clouds appear in the space above them. Clouds shouldn't appear in space, but they had appeared. These clouds were purple and boundless. They appeared out of thin air and shrouded the star field. The clouds were still moving and gathering like crazy. As the clouds gathered, the pressure became stronger and stronger. Thunderous rumbles came from within them. Their roars were heaven-shaking, and they caused space itself to tremble. It was as if a crack to another world had been opened inside the clouds and a large pavilion appeared. This pavilion seemed to be made of white jade and continued to push outwards. The thunderous rumbles became even more intense, and endless thunder swam through the clouds. Space trembled violently as if it was about to collapse. The pressure became stronger and stronger. The boundless clouds continued to spread, and in the blink of an eye they seemed to shroud most of the rank region. Those thousands of cultivators were shaken and were stunned as they looked at the clouds above them. A fear from their souls immediately appeared in their hearts. It was unknown who retreated first, but the thousands of cultivators all quickly fled. They wanted to get away from the clouds. Divine retribution. This is divine retribution. A mournful cry came from the crowd. When the surrounding cultivators heard this, their faces all turned pale. They retreated like crazy for their lives. Divine retribution, it really is divine retribution. The 3 demon sect members trembled and fear appeared in their eyes. They didn't hesitate to retreat. There was a thunderous roar. A thunderous rumble came from the magnificent clouds and shook the star field. Hundreds of cultivators coughed out blood and fell. The thunderous rumbles turned into a shock wave and spread out. In the blink of an eye, it shook the entire rank region. The dense fog in the rank region collapsed in an instant. The fierce beasts hidden inside all let out roars filled with panic. It was as if the apocalypse had started in the rank region, and an uproar began. The moment the clouds appeared and the thunderous rumbles echoed, all the elders in the demon sect were awakened from their cultivation. Their expressions changed greatly, and they all flew out of their cultivation planets. When the 16 elders of the demon sect came out, they saw the clouds and their pupils all shrank. What kind of divine retribution is this? Just as the elders of the demon sect were in shock, an ancient voice came from the demon sect. This is infinite retribution. It seemed like he was extremely concerned about this divine retribution. The moment the 16 elders heard this voice, they looked respectfully at the demon sect. Greetings, High Elder! A ray of light shot out of the demon sect and turned into a middle-aged man. Although he looked young, he gave off an ancient aura as if he had existed for far too long. The middle-aged man looked emotionally at the clouds and slowly said, "There are many types of divine retribution, including thunder, soul, might, and others. Only infinite retribution is the most terrifying. It is ever-changing, and rumor has it that its power is equal to heaven itself. It will without a doubt kill. I wonder which fellow cultivator unexpectedly triggered this divine retribution." The sect master once said that all living things will need to pass the infinite retribution. I didn't expect to see the infinite retribution today. Open the sect formation and let all the cultivators enter the demon sect. Otherwise, they will all be destroyed by the infinite retribution. The middle-aged man stared at the clouds, and his expression became even more serious. His words were like an order. The elders spread out their divine senses and immediately flew toward the cultivation planets. Large amounts of demon sect members flew out and guided the cultivators at the battlefield into the demon sect. The disciples of the demon sect were like a mortal army. The moment an order was given, they moved quickly and effectively. They used some unknown method and quickly guided all the cultivators into the demon sect. When there were no cultivators outside the demon sect, the sect formation activated. The roar was thunderous and seemed to compete with the divine retribution. Soon, all the demon sect planets were surrounded by the formation. There is no one in my demon sect that triggered the divine retribution, so there will be no harm to the sect with the formation active. This old man wants to see who can unexpectedly trigger this infinite retribution. The old man's eyes were bright, as if his gaze could pierce the void and look at the spatial crack. The clouds spread like crazy. In a short period of time, they completely shrouded the rank region. The lightning and thunder were dense inside the clouds and could shock any cultivator that saw them. As the clouds continued to spread, the crack to the other world continued to widen. The huge white pavilion was halfway out. The high elder of the demon sect's pupils shrank when he saw the half-exposed white pavilion within the clouds. He saw that there was a statue of someone sitting in front of the pavilion, and 2 stone swords were stabbed into the ground before it. International Children's Day brings tears in wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1302 covered the sky with one hand. Thunderous rumbles echoed like crazy from the clouds. The endless rumbles linked together, forming an even more intense sound. The sound of this thunder was already indescribable. The sound violently spread across space, and the fog was pushed back. Large amounts of fog beasts died from the shockwave. Wild continents collapsed one by one. Even the demon sect formation flickered as it resisted the increasing power from the thunder that seemed to have existed since the beginning of time. The countless cultivators in the demon sect trembled before this thunder and didn't dare to resist it at all. It was as if they were ants under the heavens' might and couldn't even withstand one blow. The divine retribution is like this. The divine retribution is like this at this moment. The divine retribution was engraved into the hearts of the cultivators and created an imprint that couldn't be erased. If they couldn't break through this imprint, their cultivation levels would stop at this point for the rest of their lives. However, if they could break through, their cultivation levels would increase greatly. The sound of thunder became even more intense and space trembled. An even louder tearing sound came a moment later, and the thunder spread past the rank region. Even the rank region could clearly hear it. Sound retribution, the thunderous rumble seemed to echo these 2 words. When the thunder had replaced all sounds in the world, bolts of lightning shot out from the clouds and shrouded the entire rank region. These bolts of lightning were purple and shot out frantically from the clouds toward the spatial crack outside the demon sect. The purple lightning bolts replaced everything in the sky and attracted the attention of all the cultivators in the rank region. There was too much lightning, the thunder was too intense, and the roars were heaven-shaking. As the endless purple lightning bolts shot out, they seemed to cross endless distances in an instant. It was as if nothing in the world could stop them, and the concept of distance didn't exist to them. In an instant, the endless purple lightning bolts that pierced through the clouds enveloped the entire rank region. They formed a giant net around the spatial crack and condensed a giant bolt of thunder about 10,000 feet long. Rumble, 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 rumble. This thunder shot toward the spatial crack. It carried with it a killing intent to destroy everything as it descended. This bolt of thunder attracted the attention of all the cultivators. Their minds went blank, and the only thing occupying their minds was this indescribable divine retribution thunder. This bolt of thunder seemed like it could not be blocked or resisted by any living creature. Just as it descended on the spatial crack, a red figure walked out. When the figure appeared, a monstrous smell of blood followed. This blood came from the clothes on his body and his aura. It was as if he had killed so much inside the spatial crack that the scent of blood had gathered around him. He appeared just as the thunder descended. It was too fast and closed in an instant. It was going to turn this person to ash and make them disappear from his world. This red figure was Wang Lin. The moment the thunder closed in, Wang Lin's right hand protected Li Qianmei, and his left hand pressed against the thunder. A person with one hand and 2 indifferent eyes seemed to cover the sky. The moment he walked out of the crack, he seemed to challenge the heavens and the divine retribution. Rumble, 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 rumble. The thunder and Wang Lin's hand collided, creating an even more violent sound. The space around Wang Lin collapsed, and the spatial crack behind him was ripped open several-fold. His body trembled and his left hand shook lightly. However, his expression remained neutral, and he mercilessly squeezed. Divine retribution thunder is useless against me. As he squeezed, a thunderous rumble echoed and the thunder roared like crazy. An unexpected will came from Wang Lin's left hand. He was going to fight for control of the thunder from the heavens. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the two wills inside the thunder collided. The thunder suddenly exploded, and the endless purple lightning bolt spread out with Wang Lin as the center. In just an instant, the entire world seemed to turn into a thunder well. The rumbles continued. Although the thunder had collapsed, Wang Lin was not like his past self. He wasn't just going to resist the sound divine retribution, but break the divine retribution altogether. His right hand grabbed Li Qianmei, and he swung her back so she was on his back. His origin energy formed ropes and tied them together. After doing this, Wang Lin's hands formed seals, and he waved. The thunder well with him as the center roared once more. I am thunder. Exercising my right to control thunder, all thunder, listen to my order. Up! Wang Lin's words were filled with might. The moment his voice echoed, the purple lightning bolt roared and rushed toward him. The lightning was endless and circled around Wang Lin. The people in the demon sect were all terrified and dumbfounded by all of this. The demon sect's high elder's eyes shined brightly, and he took a deep breath. Wang Lin pointed at the cloud in the sky and let out a heaven-shaking roar. Break the divine retribution for me. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the lightning became crazy. It then formed a 10,000-foot bolt of thunder, and it was filled with Wang Lin's will as it shot toward the clouds. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the clouds and thunder collided. A sound even more intense than before appeared and spread across the rank region. Inside the God sect, Mu Bingmei was awakened from her 10 years of cultivation. She looked outside and found that the sky was black and trembled violently, as if it was going to collapse. Wang Shanshan beside her turned pale and looked up at the sky. Deep in the God sect, in the chamber Taoist water was in, the 7-colored light between his eyebrows had dimmed. The tip of the 7-colored nail had exposed itself, and all the veins on his body had popped. He was about to force out the 7-colored nail. The thunderous rumbles from before didn't distract him at all. He was at the most critical moment, and even if the sky collapsed, he wouldn't look. All of his focus was on forcing the 7-colored nail out. However, just at this moment, the thunderous rumbles echoed again, and there was a hint of Wang Lin's will inside the sound as it fell in Taoist water's ears. The 7-colored nail had already become dim and was about to be pushed out, but at this moment, due to Wang Lin's will inside the rumble, it resonated with Wang Lin's voice and shined brightly once more. The intense flash caused Taoist water's expression to change greatly, and he coughed out blood. All his hard work was undone. He stared in a daze ahead and let out a heaven-shaking roar. The rank 9 heaven-breaking sect had also heard this thunder and saw the rolling clouds. They immediately opened up the sect protection formation. The heaven-breaking sect's sect master sat in his closed chamber and silently stared at the starry sky. After a long time, he let out a sigh and waved his sleeves. He broke open the sect protection formation and charged into the divine retribution clouds toward the spatial crack at the demon sect. Aside from the demon sect, God sect, and heaven-breaking sect, there was still the ghost sect. At this moment, deep in the clouds, there was a cultivation planet with its protective formation opened. However, there was a huge shadow over the formation. The shadow had a single horn as if it was a devil god. It greedily stared at the clouds and gave off a devilish aura. There were 9 devil stars rotating in its eyes, and every time they rotated, a mysterious force entered its body. The thunderous rumbles spread outside the rank region and entered the rank region. This caused the rank cultivators' expressions to change drastically. Their minds trembled, and they were put in a daze. Outside the spatial crack next to the demon sect, Wang Lin carried Li Qianmei and looked up at the purple clouds. This divine retribution was the most powerful one yet, and it was extremely strange. He couldn't help but think of the time in the Alliance star system where he saw the strange world, where all those ancient demon, ancient devil, and ancient god statues were, along with that mysterious youth sitting on a statue. His gaze penetrated the clouds, and he clearly saw the white jade pavilion that had mostly came out of the gap that led to another world. He also saw the statue of a person sitting on the pavilion and the 2 stone swords before the statue. This divine retribution hasn't been completely activated, so it isn't enough to break the sealed realm formation. Just at this moment, one of the 2 stone swords before the statue trembled and released a green gas. The green gas was like a cloud, and it instantly turned into a green sword. It gave off a heaven-shattering and indescribable sword energy as it broke through the clouds and shot at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression turned serious. The moment the green sword closed in, he raised his finger and pointed. 2 deers suddenly appeared, and 10 million sword energy rays erupted. The roar echoed, but the 10 million sword energy rays didn't spread out. Instead, they condensed into one sword and shot toward the green sword. A thunderous rumble echoed when the green sword collided with Wang Lin's 10 million swords. Sword energy flashed and popping sounds echoed as the green sword was being constantly weakened, but it still didn't collapse. At this moment, the sword that gave off the sword energy trembled and cracks appeared on it. Finally, the sword broke free, giving off a powerful green glow and shot toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's pupils immediately shrank and his expression became very serious. He waved his right hand and there was a flash of bloodlight as the blood sword appeared in his hand. Quickly approaching 3,900 words, Leo fierce as a tiger. Wishing for sharing, for likes on the video, for channel followers. Chapter 1303, Sealed Realm Formation. The blood sword had absorbed the blood of a large amount of fierce beasts and was nourished in that sea of blood. The moment it appeared, it gave off a monstrous bloodlight. Even the clouds in the sky were pierced by this bloodlight. With the blood sword in hand, Wang Lin's eyes shined. The moment the green sword broke free and shot toward him, he swung the blood sword. A thunderous rumble echoed. The moment the blood sword swung down, a spatial crack was torn open. This spatial crack collided with the green sword. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and the green sword let out a sharp hiss. The green light collapsed and large amounts of bloodlight entangled it as it rapidly retreated. The blood sword was unscathed and let out a loud sword hymn. It gave off an indescribably fierce aura and gave chase. Just at this moment, cracks appeared on the other stone sword in front of statue on the White Jade Pavilion. It burst open, releasing a powerful blue light. It flew out and began resisting the blood sword together with the green sword. The rumbles echoed like crazy as the 3 swords collided, causing space to tremble. The origin of the blood sword was mysterious, and it contained endless power. Even matched against the 2 swords of divine retribution, it wasn't any weaker and became even more fierce. A thunderous roar came from the clouds when the 3 swords collided. A wave of pressure came from the clouds. This pressure was almost solid as it spread, and the White Jade Pavilion squeezed a bit more out of the gap. There were 2 more swords behind the statue on the pavilion. One more suddenly cracked and a black sword shot out. It worked together with the green and blue sword to suppress the blood sword. Thunderous rumbles trembled. The attack of the 3 mysterious swords just made the blood sword even more crazy. The bloodlight was monstrous, but it gradually retreated. It was obviously not a match. The blood sword had its own spirit, and it let out a roar. It was angry at the 3 swords that were clearly inferior to it. All of this happened in an instant. Wang Lin stepped forward, and the ancient god stars between his eyebrows rotated like crazy. When the rotation reached its limit, Wang Lin's right index finger pointed to between his eyebrows. He broke through his flesh, and a drop of blood flowed out. This blood wasn't his essence blood, it was formed by his ancient god stars. The drop of blood flew at the blood sword and was absorbed. The blood sword immediately gave off a shocking pressure, and the bloodlight intensified several-fold. A giant blood shadow appeared from the blood sword. This shadow was blurry and vaguely looked human. After it appeared, the blood sword swept forward and the 3 colored swords immediately retreated. Popping sounds echoed, and they were obviously not a match. Just at this moment, the last stone sword collapsed and gave off a golden glow. It carried a powerful pressure and sword energy as it collided with the blood sword. With a bang, the blood sword retreated once more. The 4 swords, green, blue, black, and gold, floated into the air at this moment. They began to rotate and formed a giant vortex. It was complete chaos inside the vortex, as if it contained another world. That world was a blur, but one could vaguely see that it contained innumerable planets with countless mortals on them. They were all muttering, and the bizarre voice that came from the vortex could shake anyone's mind. This voice quickly filled the entire rank region and penetrated the sect protection formation. It clearly entered the soul of every cultivator and beast. The land of Paramita. 1 retribution opens. 1 retribution ends. Those who come can have eternal life and obtain grand Tao. They can be rid of all pain and struggle and become my disciple. Enter my land of Paramita and you can become the pride of the heavens, be above others, and obtain the heavenly Tao. Enter my land of Paramita and your dead loved ones can be resurrected and live forever. You can live at ease and achieve the true Tao. Enter my land of Paramita, and your reincarnation cycle will collapse. There will be no life and death. Enter my land of Paramita, and your heart will be complete, and your mind will follow. A voice filled with pressure came from the world inside the vortex. This voice was powerful, and for some reason, one would feeling warmth and trust toward it. The thousands of cultivators that entered the demon sect to avoid the divine retribution immediately became confused. One of the youth's pupils became blurry and were replaced by the vortex. He looked happy and smiled. This smile was extremely bizarre. In an instant, light surrounded him and he disappeared. The moment he disappeared, hundreds of the surrounding cultivators revealed that same strange smile. Light surrounded them, and they all disappeared one by one. This is the infinite retribution paramia summon. Focus your minds, or else if your Tao hearts will become unstable, and you will be summoned into the world inside the vortex. The demon sect's high elder stared at the vortex outside the formation, and his expression was extremely serious. His voice was like thunder, and it rumbled across the demon sect. This awakened all the cultivators in the demon sect that were in a daze. However, the moment they awakened, they entered a daze once more. What disappeared were only people of the demon sect. The ghost sect, god sect, heaven-breaking sect, and the fierce beasts in the fog all had people disappearing. The blood swords surrounded Wang Lin. He looked up at the vortex made by the four swords. The strange voice also entered his mind, and because he was the one enduring the sound divine retribution, it was even more clear than others. However, the voice in his ears wasn't old, but constantly changing. Sometimes it was his mother and father. Sometimes it would be Li Muwan and Wang Ping. Sometimes it would even be the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. All these voices staggered and formed a strange tone that echoed in Wang Lin's mind. Paramita, there was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. His Tao heart was strong, much stronger than that of ordinary cultivators. Even some old monsters that had cultivated for countless years were not better than him. Wang Lin had faced many dangers in his life, and a mere illusion couldn't affect his mind. Is there Paramita? He raised his right hand and charged out. He mercilessly swung the blood sword at the vortex made by the four swords. The heavens and earth roared as a shocking sword light flashed and fell on the vortex. A rumble echoed as a powerful force come out of the vortex and smashed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body trembled, and he retreated several steps. Just at this moment, the vortex suddenly rotated faster and disappeared into the clouds. The clouds began to roar violently as if they were being pulled by the vortex. They were gathering in one place. In just a moment, the clouds formed a cloud mountain. This mountain was endlessly tall and completely purple. It gave off a heaven-shaking pressure. There were large amounts of runes on the mountain that intersected to form the word Tao. All the clouds began to gather like crazy, making the mountain bigger and bigger. It was a giant mountain that could support the heavens itself. The thunderous rumbles continued to echo as the cloud mountain pressed down on Wang Lin. It seemed like it wanted to crush Wang Lin completely. The pressure was so powerful that it caused the demon sect's protective formation to show signs of breaking. Cracking sounds echoed and cracks spread out. Popping sounds echoed from Wang Lin's body as the endless pressure came from all directions. His feet pressed against the starry sky, giving off an unbearable sound. His face turned slightly red, and his origin energy cycled his whole body. He looked at the cloud mountain, and his eyes lit up. He was waiting for the moment when the divine retribution released all its power. This was the moment. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as the cloud mountain pressed down on him. All of his origin energy erupted and he swung the blood sword below him. A thunderous rumble echoed and a giant spatial crack appeared. This spatial crack was ripped open layer by layer, and adding the powerful pressure from the cloud mountain, the spatial crack collapsed even more intensely. After a few moments, the spatial crack was completely torn open. This revealed the void beneath the starry sky. This void was where the sealed realm formation was. When the spatial crack was ripped open, cold energy rushed out. Wang Lin's body stepped into the crack and into the void. The cloud mountain had already locked onto Wang Lin and descended. The crack was ripped open once more and the cloud mountain entered. When Wang Lin and the cloud entered the void, a net-like structure appeared. It gave off a powerful aura that stopped all living things from breaking in. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light, and he quickly closed in on the net. His hands formed a seal, and a large amount of seals fell on his body. At this moment, the cloud mountain chased in and landed on Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin suddenly lifted his arms as if he was supporting the mountain. Then an indescribable roar echoed. Wang Lin's body trembled, and he coughed out blood as he transferred this force onto the sealed realm formation. The entire void suddenly lit up and revealed the net. This net was endless, and it was impossible to see where it ended. It surrounded the entire inner realm, and over the countless years, no matter how much the cultivators of the inner realm tried, they could never break the formation on a wide scale to allow people to enter the outer realm. Only a few amazing individuals had been able to use their powerful cultivation to break out by themselves. However, throughout the ages, there had never been anyone who borrowed the power of the divine retribution to break out of the sealed realm formation. Wang Lin was the first one. Tears streaming long, wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1304 9 Palaces, 8 Diagrams. The cloud mountain was like a veil of mist that surrounded the flashing sealed realm formation and pressed down on Wang Lin. Thunderous roars echoed and Wang Lin's face became even more pale, but his expression didn't change. He stared at the cloud mountain while leaning against the formation, remaining motionless. I have seen the power of the divine retribution many times and have survived through them all. Today's divine retribution is strange, but it still can destroy me. My Tao heart can be destroyed, so my mind can die. My body is as stable as Mount Tai, and not even the heavens can prevent me from completing my Tao. Wang Lin's voice was calm and slow. His hands formed a seal and the blood sword circled him, releasing screeches as it did so. The bloodlight enveloped Wang Lin. The cloud mountain roared as it pressed down, and Wang Lin waved his hand. An ancient god shadow appeared around him, and at the same time his right hand formed a fist and punched the mountain. His left hand pressed down on the sealed realm formation. The ancient god shadow moved with him. His right hand threw a punch at the descending cloud mountain. The pressure from the cloud mountain descended and collided with the ancient god power. An earth-shattering rumble echoed as a destructive power erupted into the ancient god shadow. Then it was transferred to the ancient god's left hand and into the sealed realm formation. Thunderous rumbles continued to echo, and the sealed realm formation flickered violently. Bright seven-colored light shined and immediately lit up the entire void, the entire sealed realm formation. The giant formation suddenly activated when the seven-colored light shined. Its activation would stop anyone in the inner realm from taking half a step outside. The seven-colored light even penetrated the cloud mountain as if it was useless before it. Powerful pressure suddenly came from the shining seven-colored formation. The thunderous rumbles echoed across the void. Because the attack on the formation had reached the requirements to summon the formation spirit, there was a violent flash and a ray of light condensed from the formation. This light was silvery white, as if it was lightning, and it instantly turned into a lance. This lance was covered in endless lightning, and it shot toward the cloud mountain. Thunder entangled the lance and popping sounds echoed. The lance contained shocking force and was like a bolt of lightning that pierced through the cloud mountain. The cloud mountain trembled and collapsed. The cloud was pushed back, revealing the 4 rotating swords. Wang Lin's body also felt very uncomfortable. After transferring the attack into the formation, he had suffered injuries. He coughed out a mouthful of blood, but his eyes were still firm. He coldly watched the formation and divine retribution attack each other. Whether it was the sealed realm formation or the divine retribution, both were things Wang Lin didn't like. He still remembered what he saw inside the seven-colored realm. Throughout the ages, the sealed realm formation had been contaminated with the blood of too many sealed realm cultivators. Even now, Wang Lin could still hear their unwilling roars. I refuse to let this be. I refuse to let this be. There will be a day when a future generation of cultivators will break this formation and cause all you outsiders to become extinct. Rivers of blood will flow in your outer realm. The first time he heard this voice, it ignited Wang Lin's blood and aroused his bloodlust. After all, he was born in the sealed realm, and the sealed realm was his home. The cloud mountain collapsed, and the rotation of the 4 swords was stopped by the white lance. Due to the large amounts of clouds being pushed away, The white jade pavilion that was constantly squeezing out of the gap to another world was exposed. There was a flash of gentle light coming from between the eyebrows of the statue on the white jade pavilion, and it soon enveloped its entire body. Its whole body seemed to melt, and its right hand suddenly changed from stone to flesh and blood. Its right hand moved! The statue raised its right and gently pressed down on the crack leading to the void where the realm's ceiling formation was. 9 palaces infinite as a vague voice echoed. The statue's right hand pressed down. The 4 swords inside the void immediately flew back along with the collapsed clouds. These clouds surrounded the statue, forming a giant vortex. The 4 swords rotated within, causing the vortex to grow larger. As the vague voice echoed, the gap the white jade pavilion was in was suddenly ripped open and revealed the world within. Inside the gap, there were 9 identical planets, forming a formation that gave off the might of the ancient celestial realm. Heaven Palace, Water Palace, Mountain Palace, Thunder Palace, Center Palace, Fire Palace, Wind Palace, Earth Palace, Swamp Palace. Different golden runes appeared on each planet, giving off an unimaginable aura. The moment the 9 planets appeared, they rumbled and rushed out of the gap. They shrank, becoming smaller and smaller until they charged out into the void. They penetrated the crack and entered the void where the sealed realm formation was. They rotated as they descended down on Wang Lin. Celestial ceiling 9 palaces. At the same time, 9 white dots appeared on Wang Lin's body. These 9 dots were the 9 major blood flow intersections. When the 9 dots linked together, they connected his whole body. When the 9 palaces arrived, the 9 points gave off unbearable pain. It was as if 9 nails had pierced his body. It was enough to make him go crazy. Wang Lin's body trembled and he let out a roar as he stared at the 9 palaces. The pain became even more intense. However, this pain just ignited his indomitable will. He had been a heaven-defying cultivator all his life. The heavens couldn't make him bend and fate couldn't make him obey, let alone this divine retribution. From the moment he chose to become a heaven-defying cultivator, he was doomed to fight the heavens and struggle against fate. At this moment, popping sounds came from Wang Lin's body, and his body swelled up. A 6-star ancient god appeared outside the sealed realm formation. His almost 10,000-foot-tall body made Wang Lin look like a giant from ancient times. He hid Li Qianmei and clenched his fist as he walked toward the 9 palaces. Rumble, 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 rumble. The moment he charged out, 4 of his blood points collapsed, and blood flowed out. A destructive aura filled his body. The moment his 4 blood points collapsed, 4 of the palaces turned into white light. They moved at an indescribable speed, penetrating the void and landing on Wang Lin's collapsed blood points. Wang Lin's body trembled and thunderous rumbles echoed inside his body like crazy. The remaining 5 blood points all collapsed. Similarly, the 5 planets shined. The moment they disappeared, they charged into Wang Lin's collapsed 5 blood points. The palaces moved within Wang Lin's body, causing endless destruction, and gathered toward the last palace in his chest. Once they condensed, the 9-palace seal would be complete. The planets formed by the 9 palaces were not real cultivation planets, and they had no living things on them. They were 9 giant meteorites that had been refined over countless years, and they had become part of the divine retribution. The intense pain inside Wang Lin's body almost made his origin soul collapse. His roars became even more intense as the ancient god's stars between his eyebrows rotated rapidly. His expression became even more ferocious. 9 rocks can seal a celestial, but I am not a celestial. I'm an ancient god? Wang Lin roared as his body trembled and his ancient god power erupted from his body. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and the 9 blood points on his body moved. The meteorites inside him unexpectedly stopped in their tracks, and they weren't able to gather at the last palace. However, the divine retribution wasn't over yet. The purple lightning, 4-colored swords, the Paramita summon, the cloud mountain, and all of this were just the beginning of the divine retribution. The infinite divine retribution went on until you died. After the 9 palaces came the 8 diagrams. 8 diagrams infinite in the world the white jade pavilion was in. The right hand of the statue waved and 8 giant runes appeared. These runes were the imprint of the 8 diagrams. Heaven, water, mountain, thunder, fire, wind, earth, swamp. The 8 diagrams rotated forming its own world. The moment the 8 diagrams appeared, heaven, water, mountain, thunder, fire, wind, earth, swamp all appeared. They formed a giant wheel. As the wheel rotated, it went through the gap, rushed into the spatial crack, and entered the void. It carried a powerful pressure as it descended on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's face was pale as his origin energy had to constantly keep the flowing time spell active on Li Chanmei. His ancient god power had to constantly force out the 9 palaces. At this moment, when he had to face the 8 diagrams that was much stronger than the 9 palaces, his pupils couldn't help but shrink. In particular, the giant wheel they formed would change every time it rotated, making it impossible to tell its trajectory. It was incredibly fast, and it instantly pressed down on Wang Lin. At this moment of life and death, Wang Lin calmed down. He took a few steps back and leaned against the sealed realm formation. Lord of the sealed realm, I have brought you to the sealed realm formation. You can come out. The like button for the VIDEO is in danger. Urgently wishing for the like button for the VIDEO's aid. Chapter 130, Sudden Arrival of Nascent Soul. The 3 of you can return. Lin Tao, I'll wait for you here in 10 days. With that, Wang Lin's body floated backward and flew away in a rainbow-colored light. Lin Tao quickly responded and thought that once he got back, he would have to have a good talk with his cousin. This was a life-and-death situation, so no matter what, he had to get a copy of that map. Xianxia's clothes were soaked with cold sweat. The cold breeze blew on his body, causing him to shiver. Waves of coldness came from his heart as he knew that he had just walked past death's door. Zhou Zihong calmly looked at Xianxia and left. Wang Lin aimlessly flew in the sky as he pondered in his heart. Before long, his eyes lit up. No matter what, he couldn't go to this war god shrine. Not to even mention that if any of those 3 were thinking of rebelling, the secrets he was holding right now couldn't be hidden from a nascent soul cultivator at all. It was very likely that the nascent soul ancestor had already used some strange method and figured out that he had possessed Mai Liang. Thinking about this, he suddenly felt a hint of fear as his face darkened and his speed increased. Wang Lin had already speculated this would happen, but Yang Zhong's group's actions made him even more convinced. As he was flying, a gentle voice suddenly entered his ears. Little friend, could you please return my disciple's soul essence blood? This voice was very beautiful. It was very sweet to listen to. Wang Lin's body suddenly stopped. Before him, an enchanting woman walked toward him. The woman's steps were as light as the clouds, and each one created a rustling sound. She wore a blue court dress. The bottom half of the dress was covered in triangular emeralds. There was a belt around her waist, and from the belt extended many long ribbons. The court dress on this woman created a sense of intelligence and elegance. The woman was very beautiful. Without any makeup, there was a red glow on her face, and her skin was a creamy white color. As the woman walked forward, Wang Lin backed up to keep a constant distance between them. He put his hand on his bag of holding and coldly stared at her. Wang Lin's expression was the same as usual, but in his heart, he was on full alert. This woman's cultivation level was something he couldn't see through. She was clearly a nascent soul cultivator. Wang Lin calmly looked at the woman and said, "What is the name of Senior's disciple?" The woman revealed a gentle smile and replied with a soft voice, "My disciple's name is Zhou Zihong." Wang Lin nodded without any hesitation and decisively said, "Okay, once Junior is 1,000 kilometers away, I'll definitely send out the soul essence blood. Otherwise, even if Senior acts, I'll struggle to make sure the soul essence blood is destroyed." The woman looked at Wang Lin and said, "Little friend doesn't need to be so nervous. I have already heard about you from Zihong. It was all thanks to your help that the 3 of them were able to safely return to the war god shrine. Just with that, we can ignore you possessing Mai Liang. Ignoring everything else, because you saved Zihong, I can forgive you for everything that has happened." Wang Lin was startled and carefully looked at the woman's eyes. He saw that the woman didn't seem to be lying. Then, he pondered a bit and said, "Please don't blame me, Senior. Please wait until Junior is 1,000 kilometers away before I return the soul essence blood." The woman raised her hand and made a pose that would shock any man's heart. She shook her head and laughed. 1,000 kilometers, I'll call you Mai Liang. Mai Liang, 1,000 kilometers is only a few breaths for me. If I wanted to kill you, then unless you could escape to 10,000 kilometers away, it would be pointless. Fine. If you insist, then go. Without a word, Wang Lin's body shot into the distance, leaving a trail of rainbow-colored light. Half an hour later, he had already traveled 3,000 kilometers. He stopped at the mouth of a volcano to catch his breath. After adjusting the spiritual energy in his body, he pointed at his forehead, and a silver speck of light floated out. Wang Lin didn't even take another look at it as his body jumped into the air and he left. Along the way, Wang Lin wondered if what the woman said was true or false, but no matter what, it was not wise for Wang Lin to offend a nascent soul cultivator right now. Therefore, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to return Zhou Zihong's soul essence blood. A few minutes later, the woman's figure appeared at the mouth of the volcano where Wang Lin left Zhou Zihong's soul essence blood. She reached out with her right hand and Zhou Zihong's soul essence blood quickly came to her. The woman looked at the speck of light and revealed a tender and loving expression. After carefully putting away the soul essence blood, she looked at the direction Wang Lin went and softly muttered to herself, "Seeing that you saved Hong Yi and readily returned her soul essence blood, I'll solve the issue of possession for you." For 2 days, aside from some necessary rest, he had been continuously flying. Because that woman had never appeared again, he relaxed a bit, but suddenly, his eyes focused on the ground not far from him. Just at this moment, several sword lights flew toward him from the distance. After seeing Wang Lin, they quickly changed direction and headed toward him. When they arrived, 7 or 8 youngsters landed near Wang Lin. They looked at him with hostile gazes. Among these people, the most prominent was a young man in the front. The man's face was as white as jade. He looked very refined. His cultivation was at the late stage of foundation establishment and already at pseudo-core formation. He wore a purple robe and stood on top of a green flying sword, creating a very noble air. Beside him followed a girl dressed in red. There was a hint of red on her pale face, making people want to love her. The young man's eyes were cold as he looked toward the girl and whispered, "Wan is it him?" The girl looked at Wang Lin. She let out an apologetic smile and whispered to the young man, "Brother, it is not him." Although that person was good at the art of disguise, he couldn't fake this person's temperament. The coldness disappeared from the young man's eyes. He clasped his hands at Wang Lin and honestly said, "Please don't blame us, fellow cultivator. I am Li Qiqing from the Lu sect. Please forgive our rudeness." Wang Lin's expression remained the same as he calmly said, "No problem. Since it is a misunderstanding, then how could I hold it against you?" Li Qiqing let out a laugh and said, "I believe fellow cultivator is here to attend the Ravine Workshop Assembly. Maybe we can meet again in the future, but I still have an important matter to attend to today, so I'll take my leave." With that, he clasped his hands again, grabbed the girl next to him, and left with the other 6 or 7 people. After they left, Wang Lin looked at the ground and moved forward without a word. Before long, he frowned. He took out the piece of metal from his bag of holding and smashed it into the ground. The piece of metal was very quick and hit the ground with a bang. Then, a very pathetic figure came out of the ground 20 meters away. This person's appearance was very normal. Only his eyes contained a look of intelligence. He quickly raised his hand and shouted, "Fellow cultivator, this is a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding." As he spoke, he quickly looked around and jumped up. A flying sword came out and carried him to Wang Lin. "Fellow cultivator, I am Sun Yukai. This is a misunderstanding. I didn't want to purposely follow you, but I had to. That girl from the Lu sect is looking for me, and since I can beat them in a fight, I can only hide. They are still looking for me, but if I follow you, then that Li Qiqing won't be able to find me." Wang Lin looked at him. Then, he flew forward and completely ignored the guy. Sun Yukai quickly followed him up and slyly asked, "Fellow cultivator, what sect are you from?" "I am a disciple of the evil devil sect." Wang Lin's brow slightly furrowed. He didn't say a word as he used spiritual energy to move faster. His speed suddenly increased and he left Sun Yukai behind. Sun Yukai looked at Wang Lin. He sneered in his heart, but his expression remained the same. He slapped both his legs and kicked off from the ground. In the blink of an eye, he was next to Wang Lin again. He continued to say, "Fellow cultivator, I am really sorry about before. It is all that girl's fault. Ah, fellow cultivator, you are going to the Ravine Workshop, right? How about we go together? I know a lot of people in the area and can even buy a few QI condensation females to use as furnaces." "What speed?" Wang Lin's heart moved as he turned to look at Sun Yukai and smiled. Sun Yukai saw this smile and suddenly felt his skin crawl. This feeling disappeared as soon as it appeared, and Sun Yukai shook his head. He thought this person was only at the mid-stage of foundation establishment. With his late-stage foundation establishment cultivation, he couldn't be wrong. He slowly smiled and asked, "How about it, fellow cultivator?" Wang Lin sneered in his heart and decisively said, "Okay, then I'll bother brother's son." Sun Yukai's heart shook. He didn't expect Wang Lin to agree this easily. He had a lot of words he was preparing to say, but now they were all pointless. However, his reaction was very quick. He smiled and said, "No problem. It was originally my fault for using fellow cultivator to hide. What is your name?" "My name is Mai Liang. I am a disciple of the War God Shrine." Wang Lin faintly smiled. In Sun Yukai's eyes, the smile was filled with naivety, but only Wang Lin knew the truth. Sun Yukai let out a mischievous smile. He looked around and whispered, "Brother Mai, I heard your War God Shrine has a beauty named Zhou Ziwei. Our future sect leader saw her 6 months ago and was completely mesmerized by her." "You read from the War God Shrine. Is she really that pretty?" Wang Lin was startled and asked, "Zhou Ziwei, are you talking about Zhou Zihong, elder apprentice Sister Zhou?" Sun Yukai suddenly slapped his forehead and smiled, looked at his memory of mine. "That is right, it is Zhou Zihong. So, how does she look?" Wang Lin nodded and said, "Elder apprentice Sister Zhou is indeed beautiful, but her personality is very cold, so I have only seen her a few times." The like button for the VIDEO has dropped to 5th place. Tears brimming and wishing for the like button for the VIDEO. Chapter 1305. Divine retribution is a calamity but also a fortune. When Wang Lin's soul entered the heaven-defying bead, and he saw the Lord of the Sealed Realm before he was sent into the Tao Realm. The Lord of the Sealed Realm said that the Sealed Realm formation was his final resting place. It was because of this that Wang Lin had some confidence in breaking the Sealed Realm formation. This was his other method, aside from borrowing the power of the divine retribution. The moment his divine sense spread out, the heaven-defying bead that had disappeared inside his origin soul suddenly appeared. The moment it appeared, a jade flew out from within and flew out of Wang Lin's body. The moment this jade appeared, the heavens trembled and shook. Even the 8 diagrams divine retribution shook. Inside the demon sect formation, the High Elder had his divine sense spread out. While he observed the divine retribution, he was also paying attention to Wang Lin, who was going through the divine retribution. When he saw the jade, the middle-aged man trembled for a moment. His eyes suddenly widened and revealed unbelievable shock. Sect Master S. Jade? He actually has Sect Master S. Jade. Could he be the inheritor designated by the Sect Master? The middle-aged man had cultivated for countless years and was rarely moved. However, right now he was in shock and his face was red from excitement. He didn't hesitate to step forward and break through the formation into the starry sky. Then he took another step, entered the spatial crack, and arrived in the void next to Sealed Realm formation. The moment he arrived, the light from the jade spread across the void and a giant tree that could support the world appeared. The appearance of the giant tree caused the void to tremble. The 8 diagram was shrouded by a mysterious force and stopped all movement. The giant tree was so large that it filled the void. An old face gradually appeared on it. Sect Master. The High Elder from the demon sect looked excitedly at the giant tree. His eyes were filled with extreme reverence. The moment the giant tree appeared, a huge uproar was set off in the rank region. In the God sect, Taoist water originally had a hideous expression and was roaring constantly. However, at this moment, his body trembled and his face filled with fear. "Master!" There was also that 9-star ancient devil that was secretly devouring the power of the divine retribution, but at this instant, his expression changed. He looked into the distance, and his expression became filled with uncertainty. Lord of the Sealed Realm. Among the stars, the heaven-breaking sect master was walking over, but at this moment, he stopped. His expression became serious as he looked ahead and began to ponder. In the void, the face that appeared on the tree revealed an ancient aura. He looked longingly at his surroundings before finally looking at the Sealed Realm formation. After a long time, he released a sigh and let out an ancient and exhausted voice. Mysterious, brilliant. The demon sect's High Elder trembled and seemed to return back to the past. Subordinate is here, he replied without hesitation. Use my Tao treasure to organize the Cloud Sea and gather all its strength to be ready for the war with the outer realm that will occur soon. Kill any rebel. The demon sect's High Elder's body trembled, and he looked up. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes as he shouted, "As you command! Under my order, after settling the Cloud Sea, go to the other 3 major star systems. Go find Master South Cloud, Master Red Shan, and Master War Celestial. Tell them that they can fulfill the agreement of the past. I want you to use your fastest speed to organize the 3 other major star systems. Unite the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning celestial realms into one to fight the great war that will start soon. As you command." The demon sect High Elder looked excited. The ancient face on the giant tree looked into the distance, and after a long time he whispered, "Thou slave, if you can help the demon sect on this matter, this old man 1T kill you." Inside the god sect's secret chamber, Taoist water trembled, and his forehead was covered in sweat. He knelt down and kowtowed on the ground. "Devil Master, you fled from the outer realm and I gave you the entire ghost sect as your disciple to help you heal. Now you have recovered and have become a 9-star ancient devil. It is time to fulfill our agreement." The eyes of the ancient devil shadow outside the ghost sect lit up, and after pondering for a bit, he nodded. He looked through the void at the outer realm, and a glint cold and hatred flashed in his eyes. After that, the human face on the giant Gree looked profoundly at Wang Lin, and softly said, "Divine retribution is a calamity, but also a fortune. Because of the rule of the ancient celestial realm, I can tell you more. Take care of yourself. The divine retribution is not something from the ancient celestial realm. Even the celestial emperor has his divine retribution. Divine retribution comes from primal times, from when the world began. From the dead heavenly Tao, the divine retribution you face is only a small retribution, not a great one. Nor the G retribution that can destroy all life." As he spoke, his eyes slowly collapsed, and the giant tree collapsed, dissipating into the void. The jade turned into a crystal light and fell on the sealed realm formation. The sealed realm formation shined brightly and trembled. The treasured spirits appeared one by one as if resisting this light. However, the power within the jade was extremely strange. It slowly turned into countless green threads that spread across the giant formation before it gradually disappeared. The moment the green threads disappeared, the 8 diagrams that were frozen in the air roared and moved toward Wang Lin once more. Divine retribution is a calamity, but also a fortune. Heaven SG divine retribution G realm. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he stared at the 8 diagrams. His eyes became even brighter. He seemed to have grasped something, but he wasn't sure. With your current cultivation level, don't bother comprehending the Jai realm when you reach Nirvana Shatterer. Maybe you can comprehend it from the divine retribution. Qing Shuai's words echoed in his ears. The 8 diagram wheel closed in on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression rapidly changed, and the moment the wheel closed in, Wang Lin's eyes revealed madness. He made a decision. "I am giving it my all." Wang Lin gave up resisting as it closed in, and with a roar, it imprinted on Wang Lin. It immediately collapsed and turned into 8 runes that penetrated Wang Lin's skin and entered his veins. The 8 diagrams contained the heavens and earth, so they formed their own world. The moment they imprinted in Wang Lin's body, they turned into a powerful force that almost made Wang Lin's body collapse. He coughed out blood, and the 8 diagrams resonated with the 9 palaces to form an unimaginable seal. They began destroying Wang Lin's body like crazy from the inside. Fortunately, as an ancient god, his recovery speed was shocking. Under the attack of the 9 palaces and 8 diagrams, Wang Lin let out a ferocious roar. The veins in his body swelled up and he rapidly recovered. However, the 8 diagrams were extremely strange. They suddenly multiplied to 64 diagrams and continued to change. They then turned into 128 diagrams and then again until it was endless. Popping sounds echoed inside Wang Lin's body, and his 10,000-foot body was covered in diagrams. Blood sprayed out from every part of his body. Wang Lin had a ferocious expression as he looked up at the void into the vortex and roared, "A mere 9 places and 8 diagrams, 1T, kill me! Is there a more powerful divine retribution?" As he roared, the vortex roared and 7 rays of light came out from within. The 7 lights were starlight. The starlight was bright, and the moment they rushed out of the vortex, they turned into 7 cultivation planets. They were real cultivation planets, unlike the 9 palaces which were just meteorites. The 7 cultivation planets shined brightly, forming the Big Dipper. After the 9 palaces were the 8 diagrams, and after the 8 diagrams was the 7-star Big Dipper. The 7 stars, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, and Zeta. 7 stars infinite the moment the vague voice came out. The 7 stars shined like crazy and penetrated the void. Their light penetrated the starry sky and the entire cloud sea, replacing all other starlight. It was as if all the starlight in the world had been absorbed by these 7 stars and formed a heaven-shaking killing intent. This was the 7-star killing intent, the Big Dipper slaughter might. The 7 stars were killing intent, and the Big Dipper was slaughter. This was not a seal, it carried the intent to kill. As it approached, the 7 stars formed 7 trails as they shot at Wang Lin. They were like 7 slaughter swords charging at Wang Lin. At this moment, the vague voice echoed once more. 6 directions, infinite. 8 desolate 6 direction. Together this represented how desolate the universe was. There was no escaping from the 6 directions. Even if your body collapsed, your origin soul couldn't escape. This was a heaven-sealing formation, and after being surrounded, you could only fight. 6 giant tortoise shells appeared in all directions and charged at Wang Lin. However, after the 6 directions, that vague voice echoed once more. 5 elements, infinite. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Although they somewhat overlapped with the 8 diagrams, they were completely different. The 5 elements were part of the world. If the 5 elements weren't present, the world would collapse. After the words echoed, 5 rays of light suddenly appeared and formed 5 giant palm prints. These 5 palm prints represented the 5 elements. The metal palm print had the power to split the heavens. The moment it appeared, it gave off an indomitable power. The wood palm print was filled with life. It continued to change between life and death, forming an indescribable life and death power. The water and fire palm prints were 2 extremes that contained 2 opposite peaks. The monstrous waves and endless flames formed 2 giant palm prints that charged at Wang Lin. The last was the earth palm print. It was just like the earth and was extremely heavy. The moment it appeared, it gathered all the power of earth among the stars and gave off an indestructible aura. Forgot to mention, at the end of the month, wishing for the like button for the video. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 1306, Birth of the Jai Realm. The 7 stars, 6 directions, and 5 elements fused together. This power could destroy everything. Wang Lin's face was pale, but his eyes became brighter and brighter. He vaguely grasped the words of the Lord of the Sealed Realm. Divine retribution was a calamity, but also a fortune. 9 is the limit. There are 9 palaces, 8 diagrams, 7 stars, 6 directions, 5 elements, so there are surely 4, 3, and 2. I don't know what 4 and 3 are, but 2 is definitely yin and yang. From 9 to 2, after going through some phases of change, they will change into 1. Could the 1 of this retribution be G? Wang Lin's heart was pounding, but he wasn't sure. However, he had to fight and resist to the end to see if this was his long-desired G. He was unwilling to give up. Right now, the 7 stars suddenly closed in, and the expression of the High Elder of the demon sect changed. Although the sectmaster didn't say anything about the person facing the divine retribution, from the sectmaster's final words and the jade, this person's relationship with the sectmaster couldn't be normal. His eyes lit up, and he was about to step forth to help Wang Lin resist the 7-star calamity. Senior, you don't need to help. I'll resist this divine retribution myself. Wang Lin's voice echoed across the void. The demon sect's High Elder stopped for a moment, and the 7 stars closed in. The 7 stars descended with monstrous killing intent, and 7 rays of light fell on Wang Lin. There was a thunderous rumble, and he was covered in blood. His origin soul was trembling, and he was pushed back. He was deathly pale afterward, but he began to laugh. The moment the 7 stars entered his body, it connected to the 8 diagram, and formed an even more destructive aura to collapse his body. However, under this power, Wang Lin faintly felt the aura of the Ji realm. Wang Lin was extremely familiar with the Ji realm. It once accompanied him for several hundred years. When he felt that sliver of Ji, how could he not feel happy and laugh? Although he was seriously injured at this moment and his body almost had collapsed, he still laughed. He opened his arms and allowed the tortoise shells formed by the 6 directions to smash into his body. Thunderous rumbles echoed once more. His body was a bloody mess, but the place hiding Li Qianmei was completely safe. The body of an ancient god, especially that of a 6-star ancient god, was strong to an indescribable degree. Even after suffering such blows, he was still rapidly recovering. The shells formed by the 6 directions entered Wang Lin's body and linked together with the 7 stars, 8 diagrams, and 9 palaces. Wang Lin's origin soul exploded. However, he locked it inside his body and didn't allow it to dissipate. Wang Lin's eyes became lax but then became firm. He waved his right hand and a large amount of pills appeared. He devoured them to recover. Then the 5-element palm prints arrived. The moment the palm prints arrived, Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. He was waiting for this moment. He struggled to step forward, then he opened his mouth to devour the fire palm print. "Fire of the heavens, enter my body and mold my origin soul," Wang Lin roared as he devoured the fire palm print. The endless fire swept through his body and swept his collapsed origin soul. Wang Lin's origin soul unexpectedly reformed under this fire, and fire essence began to appear. It formed a vortex inside his origin soul, absorbing the power of the fire palm print. At the same time, the metal, wood, water, and earth palm prints landed on Wang Lin's body. They left 4 clear marks and began to collapse inside his body. Fire and thunder of the 8 diagram reinforce my body. As Wang Lin roared, the 8 diagram that entered his body appeared. The fire and thunder diagrams broke free and began resisting the palm prints. After these 2 diagrams entered Wang Lin's body, he had hidden them. Now he had erupted them, and this caught the divine retribution off guard. With the ancient god recovery in the 2 diagrams, he was able to resist the collapse of the 5 elements. He didn't die after taking the 9 palaces, 8 diagrams, 7 stars, 6 directions, and 5 elements. Wang Lin wiped the blood from the corner of his lips and roared at the divine retribution vortex. "Is there any more?" 4 divines infinite, the vague voice filled with no emotion echoed across the world as if answering Wang Lin. As the voice echoed, the roars of beasts came from the vortex. An azure dragon slowly came out, and after that a red vermilion bird let out a heaven-shaking cry. Killing intent spread out as a white tiger charged out roaring, and a black tortoise also stepped out. Divine retribution S4 spirit. So it was the 4 divines. Vermilion bird returned. Wang Lin's eyes shined and he smiled as he pointed at the vermilion bird. The vermilion bird trembled and let out a cry. It broke free from the other 3 and charged at Wang Lin. It closed in an instant and surrounded Wang Lin, letting out excited roars. At the same time, a vermilion bird shadow appeared around Wang Lin's ancient god body. As they resonated, the vermilion bird flew into Wang Lin and fire shot into the void. After absorbing the fire from the 8 diagram and 5 elements, along with the vermilion bird, the fire inside Wang Lin had reached an incredible peak. The vermilion bird inside him had already awakened 3 times, and with each awakening, his understanding of fire increased greatly. The 3 awakenings had caused his comprehension of fire to reach an unimaginable realm, and also gave birth to essences. All fire spells had to yield before him. He could ignite the fire of anyone who cultivated fire spells, and he could kill them with the wave of his hand. After the essence was born, Wang Lin's control over fire had reached a limit, but this limit was only to corporeal fire. Fire was divided into 2. One was corporeal fire, which encompassed many different types of fire. The other was ethereal fire, which was far more elusive. Unless one had reached the limit of corporeal fire, it was impossible to grasp the realm of ethereal fire. Anger was a type of ethereal fire. It has no physical form, but it could surpass all fire in the world. It was a kind of Tao, a spirit, and also a domain. If Wang Lin could awaken the vermilion bird a 4th time and reach the realm of ethereal fire, then even if someone hadn't cultivated any fire spells, Wang Lin could ignite their anger. He could then burn them to death with the fire of anger. The strongest fire in the world was the fire of anger. Everyone had it, and it was invisible. If you couldn't withstand it, then you would without a doubt die. At this moment, after absorbing all the different fires from the divine retribution, Wang Lin would reach his fourth awakening. He only needed a bit more to break through the realm of corporeal fire and enter the realm of ethereal fire. The vermilion bird around him cried and entered his body. It nourished his body and repaired his origin soul, so Wang Lin had enough strength to resist the arrival of the other three spirits. However, the divine retribution wasn't over, and it was becoming stronger and stronger. At this moment, the vague voice echoed once. It was cold and ruthless, devoid of emotions. 3 talents infinite. 3 talents heaven, earth, human. These corresponded to the sun, moon, and stars. The heavens was the sun, the earth was the moon, and the human was the stars. As the sound diffused, the void changed and became chaotic. The heavens had the power of the sun and emitted endless law of origin. The origin of everything. This power spread endlessly. The earth has the power of the moon, and it contained the opposite of the law of origin. The law of the end appeared in the void. The human had the power of the stars and entered chaos, forming a law Wang Lin had never seen before. It didn't belong to the law of origin, or law of the end. The 3 forces turned into 3 rays of light and shot at Wang Lin. The power inside was unimaginable and could destroy everything. 2 rights infinite, the vague voice echoed once more. As the cold voice echoed, something else appeared in the void. 2 rights was the power of yin and yang, life and death. It was also the power of karma. Everything in the world was included in it. Heaven and earth gave birth to the 4 divines, and the 4 divines turned into 9 palaces. They also resonated with 3 talents to create a heaven-shaking power. They formed a giant yin and yang diagram in the void. The yin and yang diagram formed with Wang Lin as the center. It rotated like crazy, and a thunderous roar echoed as it rapidly shrank toward Wang Lin. At the same time, the 3 talents' light closed in on Wang Lin. This was not a power Wang Lin could resist. The heaven light pierced the spot between Wang Lin's eyebrows. The earth light pierced Wang Lin's chest. The human light split into 4 and pierced his limbs. At this moment, the yin and yang diagram clamped down on Wang Lin and covered his entire body. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Wang Lin's 6-star ancient god body couldn't withstand this destructive power. His body was a bloody mess, but Li Jianmei wasn't injured at all. This divine retribution only targeted Wang Lin and ignored everyone else. 1 retribution, infinite retribution, began when Wang Lin's body was about to collapse. The vague voice echoed once more. The void seemed to have been destroyed, and waves of light appeared out of nowhere. 9 palaces, 8 diagrams, 7 stars, 6 directions, 5 elements, 4 divines, 3 talents, 2 rights all appeared, and as they rotated around each other, an extreme heavenly force was born. This was Ji. Although Wang Lin was seriously injured, his Tao heart and domains were still there. Then a change suddenly occurred. In his body, the 9 palaces to 2 rights unexpectedly also appeared in his body like the divine retribution. Ji was also born inside his body. I forgot to say, the latest 3 chapters are all 4,000-word major chapters. Is Leo that kind? So this is the moon god. Is it the like button for the VIDEO? Do you all also start the VIDEO? Chapter 1307. Devour the body and soul. Heaven extinction spell. Infinite divine retribution began. The 9 palaces turned into 9 meteorites and formed a pattern. The 8 diagrams flashed inside and rotated. Inside the 8 diagrams were the 7 stars, releasing a shocking pressure. Inside 7 stars were the 6-direction tortoise shells, and even deeper were the 5 elements, flowing. Inside the 5 elements were the 4 divines roaring. Every time the 4 divines made a turn, the outside would turn as well. Deep within the 4 divines was the monstrous 3 talents light that lit up the void. At the center of the 3 talents, the 2 rights appeared. The 2 right were yin and yang, forming a diagram that slowly turned. This caused all the outer layers to rotate as well. They rotated faster and faster until they were impossible to see clearly. What was bizarre was that all 8 layers of the divine retribution were rotating at different speeds. From the 2 rights to the 9 palaces, the 8 different kinds of retribution formed 8 vortexes that rotated at different speeds, and they fused together. As the thunderous rumbles echoed inside the rotating yin and yang diagram, a burst of light with no color erupted. But it contained the feeling of G realm. At the same time, Wang Lin's body also rotated. All the divine retributions in his body mirrored the ones outside and rotated. At the center of the yin and yang diagram, the G realm was born. The moment the G realm was born, Wang Lin's body stopped collapsing and his origin soul stopped dissipating. Everything stopped and Wang Lin opened his eyes. The moment his eyes opened, red lightning started flashing in his eyes. This red lightning that represented the G realm hadn't appeared in Wang Lin's eyes in over 1,000 years. His white hair moved without any wind and a red light came from the roots of his hair. In just an instant, Wang Lin's white hair turned unexpectedly red. This red was blood red. The red light in his eyes became even more intense, and a monstrous killing intent spread out. The G realm descended. With great sacrifice and with the determination to die, he faced the infinite divine retribution. After his body absorbed all the retributions, a sliver of G realm was born. Wang Lin had finally regained the G realm he had lost so long ago. Just at this instant, the Ji realm formed by the 9 palaces to 2 rights in the void turned into red lightning and shot straight at Wang Lin. The moment it arrived, Wang Lin let out a laugh and red lightning shot out of his eyes and landed in his right hand. Then his right hand grabbed the G realm from the divine retribution. The moment the destructive aura entered Wang Lin's body, he leaned against the sealed realm formation. He used his body, which was extremely familiar with the Ji realm, as a medium to transfer the power of the Ji realm onto the sealed realm formation. The formation rumbled, and the treasured spirits appeared to counterattack. At this moment, a large amount of green threads appeared and entrangled them, preventing the treasured spirits from appearing. The Ji realm from the divine retribution went through Wang Lin's body and entered the formation like crazy. As Wang Lin's body was pushed back, the formation was like a net that was being elongated by Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes released red lightning, and then his right hand smashed into the sealed realm formation. The Ji realm that was born inside his body left and shot at the formation. This attack contained 2 Ji realms, the divine retribution SG realm and Wang Lin SG realm, combined to form an unimaginable impact. At this moment, the amount of green threads inside the sealed realm formation increased. They spread out like ripples and caused a large-scale destruction of the sealed realm formation. Thunderous rumbles continued to echo. In just an instant, the net-like formation that had been elongated showed signs of collapse. A small opening was created. The moment the gap was created, screams came from the formation. The heaven-splitting axe that Tuo Sen recognized that belonged to his ancestors appeared. The moment it appeared, the green threads on the formation suddenly collapsed and began resisting the axe. "Why are you not leaving? What are you waiting for?" The Lord of the Sealed Realm's ancient voice echoed from the formation. The moment his voice echoed, the gap in the formation ripped open even more, revealing a hole big enough for a person to pass through. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to shrink down to the size of a normal person from his ancient god body. His right hand grabbed Li Qianmei, and then he charged out of the gap. What appeared before him was a foreign space, the ancient star system. There were also a few hundred foreign cultivators wearing strange clothes looking at him with dumbfounded expressions. These cultivators were people of the ancient celestial realm. However, the moment he charged out, the giant ancient god axe entangled by the green threads broke free. It mercilessly chopped down on Wang Lin. With this chop, a heaven-splitting ray of axe energy shot toward Wang Lin and instantly arrived. Wang Lin's expression was ferocious as roared at the ray of axe energy. "You real weapon of the ancient gods, yet you dare to attack your master?" The moment the axe energy closed in, it trembled as if it was struggling. However, in the end, it still flashed by and penetrated Wang Lin's chest. Blood sprayed everywhere, and a giant gash appeared on Wang Lin's chest. His face turned pale, and he coughed out blood. He was already seriously injured by the divine retribution, and now he was hit by the axe, making his injuries worse. His origin soul had collapsed, and even his body wasn't recovering due to the ancient god aura within the axe. Blood continued to flow out, and Wang Lin's organs began to break. His vision became blurry, but he stared at the sealed realm formation as he staggered backwards. At this moment, the gap Wang Lin charged out of rapidly healed until it was flawless once more. However, the green threads charged at the gap like crazy and seemed to take root. As for the giant axe, it floated in the formation, pointing at Wang Lin as if there was a spirit inside it watching Wang Lin. After a long time, the giant axe gradually dissipated into the formation. While Wang Lin was forced to stagger back and he was about to pass out, the ancient star system cultivators were awakened from their shock. They looked at Wang Lin with pure killing intent. The slaughter between the outer and inner realms had no reason. It could be said to be the slaughter between two different races, and only one could survive. Kill him! He charged out of the inner realm and is already seriously injured. Kill this person and send him to the clan. There will surely be rewards. He has already been injured by the formation spirit and is about to die. Kill! The people of the ancient star system were filled with monstrous, killing intent. Their eyes were merciless and cruel as they charged at Wang Lin. These outer realm cultivators all had varying cultivation levels. The lowest was Nirvana Cleanser, and the highest was Peak Nirvana Shatterer. Hundreds of cultivators closed in. You were all courting death. Wang Lin was very weak and was seriously injured, but his eyes were cold. This was the outer realm, a place he had never been to before. This was the place his sealed realm ancestors all wanted to enter from what he saw in the seven-colored realm. There will be a day when a future generation of cultivators will break this formation and cause all you outsiders to become extinct. Rivers of blood will flow in your outer realm. The roar of that celestial clearly echoed inside Wang Lin's ears, and his eyes became colder and colder. He looked at the foreign star system before him, and the fading sealed realm formation behind him. One realm apart was a lifetime for many people. The outer realm cultivators closed in an instant. Their ferocious expressions and eyes filled with killing intent clearly entered Wang Lin's vision. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his left hand formed a seal before pointing to his chest several times. He calmly said, "Celestial realm devour the body and soul, heaven extinction spell." Back when Qing Shui appeared in the thunder celestial realm, he went on a mad killing spree. The origin souls of all the cultivators he had killed were devoured, and their flesh and blood had been absorbed to become nutrients for Qing Shui to recover. This cruel spell was terrifying, and it was created by Qing Shui. In his whole life, he had only taught it to Wang Lin and no one else. In this whole world, in the inner or outer realm, only Wang Lin and Qing Shui knew this celestial spell. What kind of celestial spell was this? It was clearly an extremely demonic spell. This was the first time Wang Lin had used it, and his body rapidly withered until he was like a skeleton. A frenzied aura came from his body, and even the scar on his chest unexpectedly moved so no more blood flowed out. The moment the outer realm cultivators arrived, a devilish laugh echoed. Wang Lin stepped forward and turned into black fog before charging into the outer realm cultivators. An earth-shattering scream filled with indescribable fear echoed. The expressions of all the surrounding cultivators changed when they heard this. The black fog merged with the world and disappeared, leaving behind the cultivator that was caught. That cultivator was now only a bag of bones, and his eyes were crazy. There was still monstrous fear on his face, and his body was completely drained. His body collapsed and dissipated. The nightmare had just started for the outer realm cultivators guarding the sealed realm formation. Wang Lin, who had now entered the outer realm and could use spatial bending and this celestial devouring spell, was their biggest nightmare. Black fog suddenly appeared behind an outer realm Nirvana Cleanser cultivator. He didn't have time to turn around before he felt pain on his back. The black fog charged into his body and his body expanded like crazy as he screamed frantically. In just a moment, his body exploded. Blood spattered everywhere. The nightmare had begun. It's been a long time since wishing for likes on the VIDEO. The little pig wishing for the like button for the VIDEO support. Chapter 1308, 20 The cultivator that expanded rapidly and exploded released a lot of blood. However, the blood quickly recondensed and was absorbed by the black fog. Even the cultivator's origin soul was completely devoured. The mournful scream before death echoed across the quiet space and spread very far. Just as these outer realm cultivators were in shock, an old man who was at the peak of the Nirvana Shatterer stage quickly roared, "Form a formation." The cultivators retreated at once, and their hands formed seals. Different marks began to flash between their eyebrows. However, just as the peak Nirvana Shatterer old man roared, his expression changed greatly and he quickly retreated. The black fog that had absorbed the cultivator that exploded charged toward him. After a few seconds, the black fog disappeared without a trace. The peak Nirvana Shatterer old man didn't hesitate to make all the origin energy in his body surge and erupt. A blast with his body as the center quickly spread out. This person is seriously injured. If we scatter our energy, he won't get close, however. Before he could finish speaking, the black fog appeared in the void behind him. Inside the black fog was a pair of eyes that contained red lightning. It was the G realm. In a flash, it became as cold as the coldest winter night. The red lightning attracted the gazes of all the cultivators here. The blood-red G realm became the only thing in their minds. In particular, the pupils of the peak Nirvana Shatterer old man shrank as they reflected the red lightning. The red lightning shot out of the black fog and charged at the old man. The old man let out a roar and his right hand formed a seal, and he slapped forward several times as he retreated. His left hand reached at the void, and a shield with a strange face suddenly appeared before him. The old man had never felt a crisis of death so strong, and he was completely focused on the red lightning. The world was large and space was boundless, and although there were many cultivators around him, the old man had never felt so alone. At this moment, all of the stars, the heavens, and the cultivators around him all disappeared. The only thing remaining in the old man's eyes was the red lightning that was rapidly approaching. His right hand contained all of his Nirvana Shatterer cultivation, and as he slapped his hand, waves of powerful origin energy shot out. They turned into different spells to stop the red lightning, but the red lightning was far stronger than anyone could have imagined. A thunderous rumble echoed in a flash. The spells the old man had used weren't even qualified to stop the red lightning, and they all collapsed instantly. The red lightning penetrated them all and closed in on the shield with a strange face. The old man's face was ashen, and his hands were on the shield. The veins on his face swelled up and he ferociously roared, "Ancestral spirit, protect," however, before he could finish speaking. The red light smashed into the shield with the strange face. Crackling sounds echoed across the stars and entered the ears of all the surrounding cultivators. They stared dumbfoundedly at all of this, and their eyes revealed unimaginable fear and horror. The strange face on the shield moved when the red lightning closed in, and it appeared to devour the red lightning. The red lightning entered its mouth, and thunderous rumbles echoed inside. The strange face let out a mournful scream before collapsing as the red lightning pierced through. The red lightning landed on the shield and tore it apart. As the shield collapsed, the red lightning flashed out of it and entered the old man. His body trembled and his eyes became dim as black blood oozed out of his orifices. The red lightning went into his body, and the moment it touched his origin soul collapsed without any resistance. His soul collapsed and his origin soul was extinguished. Then all vitality disappeared from his body. The black fog surrounded the old man's body, and a moment later, the black fog left, leaving behind a bag of bones that dissipated into ashes. "Is this an outer realm cultivator?" A gloomy voice came from the black fog and echoed across the stars. The appearance of this voice ignited the panic and fear that had been gathering in the hearts of the cultivators. The black fog was like a nightmare. The moment they encountered it, they would die miserably. The inner realm cultivators were like a flock of sheep to them, not even worth considering a threat. They even believed that they were the inner realm's heavenly Tao. Every single member of the ancient star system could be the heavenly Tao of the inner realm cultivators. The inner realm was like a wasteland filled with savages. However, at this moment, all of those thoughts collapsed, and their eyes became filled with monstrous fear. They didn't hesitate at all to retreat. They didn't dare to fight back, and the only thing in their minds was, escape, escape, escape. Wang Lin's figure could vaguely be seen inside the black fog as he licked his lips. This devour spell was extremely powerful. After devouring several people, Wang Lin's injuries were rapidly recovering. The comfortable feeling after he devoured someone was like eating a celestial fruit. It was intoxicating and made it hard to stop. His eyes flashed red. The moment the hundreds of cultivators scattered, Wang Lin laughed and stepped out of the black fog towards them. His body was thin, and he was surrounded by black fog as if he had just walked out of hell. Now he charged out and arrived next to an outer realm cultivator. This cultivator wasn't old. He looked like a youth. His eyes was filled with indescribable fear. When Wang Lin arrived, he forgot to resist and screamed. However, his scream had only started when it suddenly stopped. Wang Lin's left hand grabbed the youth's neck, and then he charged forward without pausing at all. As Wang Lin moved forward, the youth's neck was being choked, so he couldn't make any sound. The youth trembled violently as black fog came out of his body. His body immediately withered, and his origin soul, origin energy and vitality were absorbed by Wang Lin's left hand. His eyes widened, and the moment his eyes blurred, his body exploded. Even his blood was absorbed by Wang Lin. It was as if his entire body had been devoured by Wang Lin's left hand. The moment he collapsed, Wang Lin caught up to another outer realm cultivator. This was a delicate woman, and her eyes were filled with endless fear. The first time Wang Lin had devoured someone was when he was covered in black fog, and although it was terrifying, it wasn't as bloody. But what had happened just now was visually impactful. When he closed in and the smell of blood entered her nose, she screamed. She tried to retreat, but she slammed into Wang Lin's chest and was pushed forward. Her mournful screams became even more violent and sharp. The woman's body trembled and quickly withered. The beauty was no longer there, only bones remained. Demon! This person is a demon! As the mournful screams echoed, the cultivators all ran, and they were filled with endless panic. As the miserable screams echoed, Wang Lin devoured, and he started moving faster and faster. Thanks to his spatial bending, these hundreds of cultivators had nowhere to run. Wang Lin would often catch up to a person in a flash. It didn't matter if they were male or female, they were all his enemies. There was no reason for the battle between the inner and outer realms, only slaughter. This crazed bloodbath continued outside the sealed realm formation. The sealed realm formation was the only witness to this bloodbath. The roars of the inner realm cultivators when they were killed by the formation spirit, while being looked down upon with cold indifference by the outer realm cultivators, echoed. There will be a day when a future generation of cultivators will break this formation and cause all you outsiders to become extinct. Rivers of blood will flow in your outer realm. The blood didn't form a river, but it was even more shocking than a river of blood. As the devouring continued, Wang Lin rapidly recovered in a short period of time. His origin soul had recovered, and his soul had solidified. Only the injury on his chest was recovering slowly. A majority of the hundreds of cultivators had been devoured by him in a frenzy. The remaining 100 or so cultivators with the highest cultivation levels had all escaped far away with fear and terror in their eyes. After licking his lips, Wang Lin suddenly turned around and looked at the escaping cultivators. The black fog spread out and covered the area. None of you can escape. He suddenly turned around and began to form a vortex with the black fog, and it rotated like crazy. As it rotated, the vortex became larger and larger. It also gave off a powerful suction force. The escaping cultivators slowed down, and some were terrified to find that their bodies were being pulled in. The fear of life and death and the shock from the bloodbath from before made these cultivators feel despair. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's expression changed greatly, and he looked into the distance. Without hesitation, he waved his hand and the black fog turned into arms that grabbed the surrounding cultivators. The moment the black fog entangled a cultivator, he began to devour them. Miserable screams echoed, and everyone guarding the formation died. After devouring these cultivators, Wang Lin quickly took a step and disappeared without a trace. The moment he disappeared, a mad roar came from the distance. Wang Lin! A giant figure comparable to the starry sky rushed toward this location. The year of the dragon is approaching. Leo's year is coming fast, fervently shouting for the like button for the VIDEO, wishing to be drowned in happiness by the likes for the VIDEO. Chapter 1309. Hunt. Tuzen. The moment Wang Lin merged with the world, there was a flash of coldness in his eyes, and he looked at the giant figure behind him. Although he was still far away, Tuosen's body was extremely large. Just his roar was able to almost collapse the origin energy in the world. He really is in the outer realm. Wang Lin disappeared. Shortly after he disappeared, there was a thunderous rumble and a giant body arrived outside the sealed realm formation. His body gave off an intense smell of blood. During these years in the outer realm, he had been slaughtering clan after clan in the outer realm. And in the end, he caused the third step cultivators of the ancient star system to hunt him. If it was only one or two third step cultivators, he wouldn't be afraid, and it was likely they would be killed by him. However, it wasn't just one or two, but 3 third-step cultivators chasing him. One of them was at the spirit void stage. Although he hadn't gone through the retribution yet, he could already use heaven-shattering spells. This alone was enough to give Tuo Sen a headache. Tuo Sen was already injured when he broke through the sealed realm formation, and he had to blow up the captured third-step cultivators in his stars, so he was at his weakest. However, his body was something Wang Lin couldn't compare with. His body was a true ancient god body, a true royal ancient god body that had survived for countless years. Its strength was unimaginable. Under the pursuit of the 3 third-step cultivators, his injuries became more numerous, but those 3 weren't having a good time either. They were also injured, and neither side could handle the other. Only the powerful cultivator at the spirit void stage was able to give Tuo Sen a heavy blow, which caused him to retreat in anger. He destroyed all living thing he saw, and the 3 third-step cultivators didn't seem like they were willing to push him too far. It seemed they wanted to chase Tuo Sen until he was completely exhausted. The anger that had been raging in his heart for 10 years was enough to burn the world. He had come here looking for Wang Lin but couldn't find Wang Lin, and this almost made him go crazy. However, just as his anger reached a peak, he unexpectedly felt Wang Lin's aura in the ancient star system. Tuo Sen charged over without any hesitation after discovering this. The 3 rays of light followed him far away. There were 2 men and 1 woman. It was impossible to see what they looked like as the space around them was twisted by a spell that blocked all divine sense and vision. They followed Tuo Sen from a distance without stopping. Tuo Sen arrived next to the sealed realm formation with a thunderous rumble, and his right hand punched at the void. A powerful roar echoed as he tore open a spatial crack. His body shrank to the size of a normal person and disappeared into the spatial crack. Chase! No matter what, he had to catch Wang Lin and devour him. Then he would turn around and devour the 3 third-step cultivators chasing him to appease the anger in his heart. Wang Lin merged with the world and used spatial bending without any target. He used his full power to go to the farthest place possible. Large amounts of ripples dispersed in a star field in the northern part of the ancient star system. Wang Lin's figure walked out, and he was still covered in black fog. Without any hesitation, he began teleporting away. However, the moment after he appeared, a storm started appearing behind him. This storm was powerful beyond imagination. The storm roared and immediately tore open a spatial crack. Cold air came out like crazy and a roar echoed. Tuo Sen charged out of the spatial crack like crazy. His eyes were bloodshot and filled with greed. Wang Lin, this god has finally found you. Wang Lin walked forward. Instead of teleporting, he used spatial bending. As he merged with the world, he turned to look at Tuo Sen, who was charging out from the spatial crack. His eyes flashed red as the G realm turned into red lightning and shot out toward Tuo Sen. Tuo Sen revealed a ferocious expression as his right hand formed a fist and he threw a punch. One punch had the power to explode a cultivation planet. His right hand moved very fast and collided with the red lightning. The red lightning drilled into Tuo Sen and began a frenzy of destruction. However, at the same time, Tuo Sen's attack shot out, and a portion of it shot toward Wang Lin. It landed on Wang Lin's body as he merged with the world. His body trembled violently, and he coughed out blood. The black fog around him collapsed, and he disappeared into the world. Tuo Sen's right hand paused, and his eyes revealed a strange light. Divine Retribution G. His expression changed. He couldn't destroy the red lightning inside his body, so it continued to cause destruction inside him. However, it wasn't much harm compared to an ancient god's powerful recovery. But Tuo Sen was already injured, so it left a hidden danger. Just as he was about to continue to chase, he suddenly frowned. The 3 rays of light behind him suddenly sped up. Ever since he arrived here, the 3 of them had been following him. The moment they saw the red lightning, they immediately recognized it. At this moment, they didn't hesitate to close in, and the 3 rays of light charged at Tuo Sen. Wang Lin's figure staggered out of the void somewhere in the ancient star system. His face was pale, and he coughed out another mouthful of blood. The wound on his chest was torn open once more, and blood dyed his clothes. This wound contained the aura of the heavens-splitting axe, so it was extremely difficult for an ancient god to recover from it. Unless he could force out this aura, it would take a very long time for it to recover. Wang Lin wasn't surprised to meet Tuo Sen here. However, even though he knew that Tuo Sen was here and that he wanted to kill him, how could Wang Lin not come with fear of his own death? After his body reappeared, he waved his left hand and the blood sword appeared. He began teleporting without any hesitation. Aside from the G realm, he still had this blood sword. This sword was also an ancient god treasure. Even though it was no match for the heaven-splitting axe, it could still cause great damage to ancient gods. During Wang Lin's brief contact with Tuo Sen, he found that Tuo Sen was far weaker than he was back in the land of the ancient god. More importantly, with Wang Lin's wisdom and his understanding of Tuo Sen, there was no way Tuo Sen would remain hidden. He must have gone on a killing spree. This would certainly attract the attention of the third-step cultivators in the ancient star system, and they might even hunt him. Aside from breaking the sealed realm formation, Tuo Sen's injuries must also be from being attacked. He looked exhausted, so I presume he is being hunted right now too. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he quickly teleported. His figure flashed through space, and every time he flashed, he crossed immeasurable distances. After a while, Wang Lin detected no signs of Tuo Sen chasing him, which confirmed his speculation. However, he understood that this would only be short-lived. There had to be a reason as to why Tuo Sen had been able to be so arrogant here for so many years, and with how strong his body was. Very few people could kill him. Tuo Sen would chase after him very soon. Wang Lin was very certain of this. He didn't have much time. He needed to quickly return to his peak. At this moment, he flew at top speed and quickly rushed through space. Only after losing Tuo Sen can I send Li Chamei to Dao Master Blue Dream. Earlier, when I devoured those hundreds of cultivators, I also took their memories. Blue Dream Dao Master is one of the 5 masters' ancient star system. He lives on Mount Blue in the Blue Silk clan. While Wang Lin teleported, he flashed through the stars. A moment later, there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. He detected a cultivation planet in the distance, and there were a lot of ancient star system cultivators living there. Right now, I can be soft-hearted. I was born in the inner realm, and sooner or later the inner and outer realms will go into all-out war. Killing one more person now will weaken the outer realm. This is a battle between 2 realms. There is no right or wrong. Wang Lin's speed increased greatly as he pondered, and popping sounds echoed inside his body. The black fog returned once more and carried him toward that cultivation planet. He flew faster and faster as he broke through space and closed in on the cultivation planet. The cultivation planet before him was dark and covered in swamps. The spiritual energy there was extremely dense, and not only were there cultivators, but also a large amount of spirit beasts. However, one strange thing was that the planet was filled with resentment. The resentment was so dense that it seemed to rush into the sky. When he closed in, a sharp scream came from the planet, and the formation around it activated. It unexpectedly knew of Wang Lin's arrival. However, the speed of the formation's activation was too slow to Wang Lin. In a flash, he charged into the formation while it opened. The black fog split into hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of parts that spread across the cultivation planet. And it began devouring like crazy. The miserable screams were heaven-shaking on this cultivation planet filled with resentment. All the cultivators were surrounded by black fog. Their flesh withered and all their vitality and blood was drained by the black fog. An old man wearing green flew out of the cultivation planet and roared, "What demonic cultivator dares to come to my Devil-Knot planet to devour?" There was a green halo around him, a cultivator that had reached the first heaven's blight. A powerful cultivator. Wang Lin's eyes turned cold and he licked his lips. Then his whole body turned into a ray of G-realm lightning that broke through the fog and shot at the old man. The old man's expression changed, and he was about to resist when a gloomy voice echoed, "Stop!" With one word, the old man's body paused for a moment, and that pause was difference between life and death. The red lightning Wang Lin had turned into landed on the old man, and he let out a mournful scream. The black fog immediately surrounded the old man. 6,000 words in a major chapter, wishing for sharing, for likes on the video. Chapter 1310, Association. The Celestial Devour spell relied on destroying everything and absorbing it all. The old man's body suddenly collapsed. Strangely, his flesh and blood didn't scatter but quickly burned into ashes. Fog came out of the old man's collapsed body, revealing Wang Lin's figure. His face was rosy, but there was a vague black line between his eyebrows. After he appeared, he didn't stop. He charged into the cultivation planet. Wherever he passed, black fog rushed into every cultivator he passed. They all let out miserable cries, and their bodies withered. Their flesh and blood were absorbed by Wang Lin. A moment later, all the cultivators on the cultivation planet were extinct. Wang Lin's body was surrounded by a cloud of monstrous black fog that was almost like demonic flame. As he floated in the air, he mercilessly reached down at the ground. Planet soul extraction. The entire cultivation planet began to tremble, and an ancient aura leaked out. It was as if it was forced to awaken from its slumber. Strands of white gas came out of the cultivation planet and gathered in Wang Lin's left hand. They formed a ball of gas in his hand. The ball seemed to contain its own world. Holding the planet's soul, the monstrous black fog around Wang Lin wrapped around him and he disappeared from this cultivation planet. Among the stars, Wang Lin merged with the world and charged forward. Every time he passed a planet, he would rush in and devour all the cultivators. Then he would extract the planet's soul and leave. There were now 7 planet souls around Wang Lin. Thunderous rumbles echoed as he rushed forward, and an ancient aura filled the stars. As time gradually passed, his origin soul healed. Aside from the wound on the chest made by the heaven-splitting axe, which was still bleeding, there were no major problems. Even the wound showed signs of recovered after he had devoured so much. However, the aura of the heaven-splitting axe caused the recovery to be slow. If I don't force this aura out, it will take too long for this wound to recover. Wang Lin's eyes turned cold as he looked at the bright star system before him. Absorbing the flesh and blood of these ordinary cultivators isn't enough to force this out. I have to absorb ancient god power in this ancient star system. I only know one place where I can find ancient god power. That is the Slave Moon Clan. Wang Lin's eyes shined, and he let out a cold snort. He took a step, merged with the world, and quickly rushed to the location of the Moon Clan in his memory. The Moon Clan had many powerful cultivators, including a large amount of old monsters that had been alive for countless years. It would be like a den of dragons and tigers, danger at every turn. However, Wang Lin had other plans. He knew that during these years the Moon Clan wasn't destroyed by Tuo Sen. Make yours. Since Tuo Sen won't stop chasing me, I'll simply lure him to the Moon Clan. I want to see how they will resist. Wang Lin's gaze became very cold as he merged with the world and disappeared. The Moon Clan was very far from where Wang Lin was. He had never been there before, and he only knew the direction from the Moon Clan member he soul-searched in the 7-colored realm. He knew one spatial bending wasn't enough, so he had to do it several times. As he rushed, he had no time to look at the ancient star system. The outer realm was different from the inner realm. No matter how bright the inner realm was, it always felt as if there was a sense of haziness, like something was there. It was as if they were in a cage. If one hadn't come to the outer realm, one would never notice this. One would just think that the world was always like this. For the outer realm cultivators, the inner realm was a cage that contained the thing they were greedy for. It was because of the sealed realm formation that the outer realm cultivators could launch plan after plan against the inner realm. Whether it was the 7-colored Tao fruit or the collapse of the celestial realms or planting traders, all of this greatly weakened the inner realm. It was extremely difficult to exit the inner realm, but it was not difficult for people of the outer realm to enter. Whether it was the sovereign or the ancient demon and devil that attacked Qing Lin, they were able to enter the sealed realm formation without any problem. And this was given to them by the outer realm's ancient celestial realm. Wang Lin heard all of this from the Lord of the Sealed Realm. He also found out that aside from absorbing the Tao intent of the lives inside the inner realm, the sealed realm formation also absorbed origin energy. The origin energy in the inner realm felt boundless, but it was in fact weakened throughout the ages. However, it was boundless in the outer realm. What shocked Wang Lin the most was that not only did the formation absorb origin energy, it was also the reason there were so few third-step cultivators in the inner realm. Over the countless years there were geniuses that had formed their own essences, and only required them to reach completion to reach the third step. However, due to the formation, their essences could never be completed, and they could only die as time passed. All of this was due to the lack of Joss flames, which was the most critical part of becoming a third-step cultivator. Even those that had become third-step cultivators had to go into hibernation due to the sealed realm formation. This was to prevent their essences from dissipating. Due to the sealed realm formation, there was not a sliver of Joss flames in the inner realm. Even if some was artificially created, it would be drained by the sealed realm formation. The only way someone could obtain Joss flames to allow their essence to grow was to head to the outer realm, or become a spy for the outer realm, like Taoist water, Nirvana void, spirit void, arcane void, and void turbulent were the 4 great stages of the third step. Nirvana void wasn't as bad, but it was basically impossible to reach spirit void. When the Lord of the Sealed Realm descended, the first problem he had to solve was the Joss flame issue. He united the 4 celestial realms into a powerful treasure and used it to counter the absorption of the sealed realm formation. The Lord of the Sealed Realm had powerful spells and wisdom. With his help, everything was going in the right direction. By using the 4 celestial realms, he stopped the sealed realm formation from absorbing the Joss flames. However, all of this was destroyed. The outer realm wouldn't allow this to happen in the inner realm. Before the calamity, the Lord of the Sealed Realm was sneak attacked by Taoist water. Then he was seriously injured by the Sovereign, the other masters of the outer realm, and some traitors from the ancient celestial realm. He had almost died. Baifan went crazy and pointed at the sky. Qing Lin's heart was broken by the Sovereign's daughter, and then he was hunted by the ancient devil and ancient demon. Start creating now. The cloud and lightning celestial realm suffered similar fates. Everything was completely destroyed so that the cultivators of the inner realm would forever be stuck in a cage and could never have the real world. They charged at the sealed realm formation time and time again to break this cage. The outer realm had never launched a large-scale invasion on the inner realm. They were constantly weakening the inner realm until the inner realm was so weak they could launch a thunderous attack. They would charge through the formation and destroy the inner realm. Then they would find the Heaven's gate and head to the inner realm's ancient celestial realm. This day was not far away, it was very, very close. The inner realm had reached its weakest state after countless years. The day the outer realm had been waiting for was arriving. It was because of this that the Lord of the Sealed Realm had to send Wang Lin into the Tao realm and help him enter the outer realm. Then Wang Lin could obtain enough Joss flames and reach the third step. The Lord of the Sealed Realm naturally saw the 5 essences in Wang Lin's body. Although he looked unfazed, he was greatly shocked, but he didn't say it. It was because of the 5 essences that he decided to make Wang Lin his inheritor, to lead the inner realm against the outer realm and even slaughter their way to the outer realm. He had chosen to integrate into the sealed realm formation with the last of his strength, so the sealed realm formation would belong to the inner realm. When the inner realm needed to rest and recuperate, it would prevent the outer realm from invading, and when the inner realm was ready to fight back, it would open. Whether he succeed or not, Wang Lin admired him. This place doesn't belong to me. I am from the inner realm, withdrawing his eyes from the ancient star system. Wang Lin's gaze became even more determined. He stepped forward and was about to merge with the world, but then he suddenly looked back. His eyes shined as he disappeared in the starry sky. The moment he disappeared, a thunderous rumble resounded and a giant spatial crack opened. Tuo Sen rushed out with red eyes. 3 rays of lightning were chasing after him. It was the 3 third-step cultivators from the ancient star system chasing closely after him. Tuo Sen's roar echoed among the stars. Being chased by those 3 third-step cultivators had made him ferocious. If not for the spirit void cultivator, he wouldn't run. Every time he thought about the spirit void cultivator, Tuo Sen would become furious. Although he was reckless, he was still cunning. Those 3 must have their own purpose for hunting him like this. However, just as he was about to catch up and devour Wang Lin, the 3 of them entangled him even more. This caused Tuo Sen's anger to reach a peak. If I don't chase those 3 away, I'll have no chance of devouring Wang Lin even if I catch up to him. After Tuo Sen charged out from the crack, his eyes released a monstrous cold light. He looked at where Wang Lin disappeared and suddenly turned around. His body expanded countless fold into his ancient god body. The 3 of you have been chasing me for 10 years. Could it be you were all waiting for this god to become tired? Then this god will give you a chance. Tuo Sen's roar was earth-shattering, and it made space itself tremble. He turned around and took a step straight toward the three people chasing him through the spatial crack. Nearly 3,800 words, already quite long. Day by day people say it's short, look at others. All are 2,000 words a chapter. Leo is that long, wouldn't you cast a like for Leo's video? Chapter 1311. The First Predestined Battle. 1. This one punch was heaven-shattering, and it carried the impact of an entire cultivation planet smashing down. Among the 3 third-step cultivators, one of them was at the spirit void stage, while the other 2 were at the nirvana void stage. They had become familiar with Tuo Sen and remained calm before the punch. They didn't T-scatter, but each person touched their forehead. In an instant, a powerful force came from their bodies and turned into 3 rays of demonic light that shot toward Tuo Sen's punch. A thunderous rumble echoed across the world, and as crackling sounds echoed, large spatial cracks appeared. As the shockwave spread, it seemed as if space itself was going to be split in half. The battle of third-step cultivators could collapse the star system. Tuo Sen let out a muffled groan and his eyes revealed a hint of madness. The 3 cultivators hunting him would never separate. In the 10 years they had been chasing him, they had never separated to give him a chance to kill them separately. However, in order to catch Wang Lin as soon as possible and not be entangled by those 3, he revealed a hint of madness. This god has killed several third-step cultivators in my life. You 3 have chased me for 10 years. Do you really think this god can deal with you 3? Star shatter! The stars between his eyebrows shined and one of them flew out. It gave off a dazzling light that had an incredibly powerful penetrating force. Even Wang Lin, who had merged with the world and was far away, felt that indescribable ancient god power. The ancient god star shined brightly, and as it shined, Tuo Sen's crazy roar echoed. Explode! He didn't hesitate to shatter a star to stop the 3 third-step cultivators from slowing him down. This showed his determination to devour Wang Lin. The ancient god star gave off endless desolation and exploded with the power to destroy the world. The explosion widened until it formed a storm that swept across the surrounding area. Rumble, 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 rumble. That thunderous rumble made it seem like the world was going to collapse, and space itself was ripped open. Huge spatial cracks appeared and covered the surrounding 5,000 kilometer, 50,000 kilometer, 500,000 kilometer area. The countless cultivation planets, countless cultivators, and countless creatures were all turned to ashes. A small portion of the ancient star system shook and felt the destructive force of this crazed explosion. The fallout turned into a shock wave that continued to spread out. The 3 third-step cultivators released their full power when faced with this powerful force. They had used their treasures and spells, but they had still been pushed back and scattered by this power. The hands of the old man at the spirit void stage formed seals. Although he was being pushed back and his face was pale, he wasn't too seriously injured. The power of the shattered star was dissipated layer by layer. However, the man and woman coughed out blood and retreated like crazy. Thunderous rumbles echoed before them, and as a result the 3 of them split up. They finally separated. Tuo Sen was willing to destroy a star just to split them apart. Now that they were separated, he had nothing to fear. He stepped forward with a grin. His body was incomparably large, so a thunderous rumble echoed. He immediately arrived beside the Nirvana Void Man, and the remaining stars between his eyebrows rotated to form a vortex that shot toward the Nirvana Void Man. The expression of the old man at the spirit void stage changed greatly, and he quickly roared, "Master Simo, retreat!" Ripples appeared in the space around him like water, as he shot out straight to Master Simo, who was being surrounded by the vortex formed by the ancient god stars. Master Simo was middle-aged. His eyes were shining. The moment the stars closed in, his hand formed a seal, and he began to mutter, "Prisoner of the Tao of Heaven. All sentient beings must endure immeasurable calamities. It only takes a thought to leave the deep prison. All life must walk forever forward and solve the modern age, escape the will of heaven and obtain the path to life. Seal the will of the heavens, engrave the dark days, await the path of cultivation." His voice was strange, and the moment he started muttering, Tuo Sen's voice changed. His right hand formed a punch and he threw it at the incoming spirit void old man. Tuo Sen unexpectedly let this person go and flew past the old man to arrive next to the other third-step cultivator. This person was a woman. She had been injured by Tuo Sen's shattered share. As she retreated, Her pupils shrank when she noticed Tuosen's arrival. She was about to use a spell when Tuosen's punch landed. Popping sounds echoed and she coughed out blood. At this moment, the vortex formed by his stars surrounded her and pulled her back. She was sealed inside his second star. All of this happened in a flash. After sealing this woman, Tuosen tore space and disappeared inside. This god still has a few stars that Haven T shattered. I will be waiting for the two of you to catch up. Although Tuosen had left, his gloomy voice echoed across the stars. The spirit void old man looked at Master Simo. A strange smile appeared on the corner of their mouths, but there was a hint of envy within them. Then they turned into two rays of light and quickly left. That person being chased by Tuosen also gave off the aura of an ancient god. He is also a royal ancient god. I fear that they are the only two ancient gods left. Tuosen is not a problem, but as for the other one, he is not someone we can hunt. I wonder what use they have for a royal ancient god for them that they need to spend so much effort and even change plans halfway. This matter is top secret. I heard about some of it, but I don't know how much of it is true. It is said that the royal ancient gods had the divinity to open the ancient heaven and allow. As the two of them galloped, they both sent out divine sense messages, but before the spirit-void old man could finish speaking, his expression changed and he stopped speaking. Master Simo beside also looked ahead. A woman gradually appeared before the two of them. She was wearing white and had a blurry appearance. She came silently, but seemed like she could cross endless distances. This woman gave off an ethereal aura, as if she shouldn't exist in this world and was someone from the celestial domain. Thank you too. The woman's voice was ethereal, and she waved her right hand. Two rays of white light flew out and landed in their hands. This is the promised rank 6 Tao spirit. After she finished speaking, she passed through the two men and made her way into the distance. As the old man at the spirit void stage looked at the white light, his eyes shined. The two of them still didn't speak before they disappeared among the stars. It seemed like the woman in white was the only thing that remained in the world. A river of stars seemed to form under her feet as she walked toward where Tuosen was chasing. Wang Lin continued to head toward the Moon Clan using spatial bending based on his memory of the Moon Clan's location. His expression was gloomy. That ancient god power fluctuation gave him a few speculations. However, right now wasn't the time to think too much. After using spatial bending many times, he arrived at a star domain covered in dazzling moonlight. The moonlight came from the surrounding planets and spread across the void. It was extremely gorgeous, like a dream realm. This is the place. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. The Moon Clan was here. Just at this moment, a thunderous roar came from behind him. Wang Lin didn't turn back, but charged forward and spread out his divine sense. Soon, he found an area filled with ancient god aura. Bait to lure me in? Wang Lin sneered. At the same time, the rumbling sound of space being torn echoed like crazy in the moonlight-filled starfield. A spatial crack was ripped open and Tuosen stepped out, exhausted. It was very bizarre. This violent sound didn't attract the attention of the Moon Clan at all. It was completely silent. Tuosen's voice was like thunder as he roared, "You can't escape!" His eyes were cold and he threw a punch at Wang Lin with his right hand. "I want to be running." Wang Lin arrived at where the dense ancient god aura was coming from. At a glance he saw a number of large ancient god statues giving off dense ancient god aura. He suddenly turned around and his eyes turned cold. Popping sounds echoed and his body grew into a 10,000-foot tall giant. His 6 ancient god stars rotated rapidly, and a powerful surge of ancient god aura erupted from his body. He waved his right hand, and a bloodlight flashed, turning into a giant sword thousands of feet long. He chopped down on Tuosen's punch. He stood around the ancient god statues and inhaled. The ancient god aura rushed into his body like crazy. All of this ancient god aura rushed to the wound on his chest. After adding his own ancient god power, there was a thunderous rumble. As popping sounds echoed, a vague axe shadow was forced out from Wang Lin's chest. Without the power of the heaven-splitting axe, the wound on his chest quickly recovered until not a trace of it remained. The last day of June, wishing for the like button for the VIDEO. A sweep of the like button for the VIDEO each month. The June ticket expires tonight at 12. Chapter 1312. The First Predestined Battle. 2. Tuosen's punch after shattering a star was extremely powerful, although he couldn't use many ancient god spells, which was due to the lack of inheritance of knowledge. Just the power of his body was heaven-shattering. At this moment, the punch rushed forward and collided with the sword energy from Wang Lin's blood sword. The thunderous rumble shook the world, creating a powerful shockwave that spread to the surroundings. At the same time, the heaven-splitting axe aura that Wang Lin had forced out from his chest was thrown by Wang Lin toward the incoming Tuosen. The heaven-splitting axe aura erupted with heaven-shaking ancient god aura, and the power to split the heavens itself. It closed in and collided with Tuosen's punch. Popping sounds echoed. Although Tuosen was strong, the blood sword had injured the ancient celestial emperor and had a mysterious origin. Ever since Wang Lin obtained it, it had been indestructible. Tuosen's body couldn't compare to how sharp the sword was. When his fist collided with it, blood sprayed everywhere, and at the same time, the heaven-splitting axe aura rushed into his arm. A series of rumbles echoed as it began a destructive rampage inside Tuosen's arm. The tired Tuosen revealed anger, and his body was unexpectedly stopped, and he staggered back a bit. The moment his body stopped, the popping sounds inside his right arm became even louder. It was as if a destructive aura was going to charge out of his right arm. This was the first real confrontation between Wang Lin and Tuosen. Tuosen was stopped, but a portion of high punch still got through. It turned into a storm and closed in on Wang Lin's 10,000-foot body. The moment the punch arrived, Wang Lin's arm blocked before him. All of his ancient god power surged and blocked the punch. Wang Lin felt as if he was being hit by a cultivation planet, and he coughed out blood. He retreated back until he ran into an ancient god statue. Cracks began to spread out from where Wang Lin collided with the statue. Large amounts of ancient god aura came out and entered Wang Lin's body. It instantly recovered Wang Lin's physical injuries. Wang Lin grinned, and his left hand patted the statue behind him. He stepped into space and his left hand and formed a fist. As he formed his fist, 7 milky white balls of light spread out from his left arm. An ancient aura filled the world. They were the 7 planet souls Wang Lin had extracted on his way here. Tuosen, Wang Lin roared as his left hand threw a punch. The 7 planet souls flew out with powerful force toward Tuosen, who paused for a moment. As they flew, 7 giant cultivation planet phantoms appeared. It was as if Wang Lin was controlling the 7 large cultivation planets to smash toward Tuosen. Tuosen's expression was gloomy. Back in the sealed realm formation, he had exploded 1 star, and in the battle just now, he had exploded another. He only had 6 stars left. According to logic, he should be only as strong as Wang Lin, but he was Tuosen and also ancient god Tu-Si. Tu-Si had been alive for far too long. This body was not a 6 star, but infinitely close to a 9-star ancient god. Although his stars had shattered, the power of his body was heaven-shaking. In addition, Tuosen was a genius to seal third-step cultivators into his stars to activate their power. Although he had exploded several, he still had one left from before, and the woman he had just sealed, so he was still very powerful. As a result, he was not someone Wang Lin could resist. After all, Wang Lin had only obtained the inheritance of memory, while Tuosen had obtained the inheritance of power. Tu-Si's physical body would terrify anyone who saw it. Once you and I fuse, this god can reach the peak I had reached in the past. You can resist this, Tuosen roared and then rushed forward. He waved his hand and threw a punch toward the 7 cultivation planet phantoms. Fuse with me so we can achieve the peak of my royal ancient god power. Why won't you obey? Tuosen roared as his fist collided with the 7 cultivation planets. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Every time they collided, Tuosen's roar became even more earth-shattering. It was as if nothing in the world could stop his advance. Those 7 cultivation planet souls trembled violently as if they were about to collapse. With a bang, one of the planet's souls exploded from Tuosen's punch. It formed a powerful shockwave that spread out through the void. Even the moonlight that filled the star domain collapsed into countless specks and dissipated. Integrate with me so I can break open the law of inheritance and use my ancient god clan's powerful spells. This world is large, and my ancient god clan can rise to glory once more. You dare not obey! Tuo Sen seemed to have gone crazy, and 2 more cultivation planet souls were destroyed by him. You can use the inheritance of knowledge at all. Even if you know the ancient god spells, you are powerless to use them. Only I, Tuo Sen, can use the spells of the ancient gods. The distance between Wang Lin and Tuo Sen instantly closed. Tuo Sen moved like a meteor, and the remaining 4 planet souls all collapsed. The resulting thunderous rumbles became the only sound left in his world. Even Tuo Sen's roar was suppressed by these rumbles. Even though you have 6 stars, you don't have the inheritance of power or the strength essence. What right do you have to compete with me? In this world, only I, Tuo Sen, am a real ancient god, and only I am qualified to obtain all the inheritances. Tuo Sen roared as he charged at Wang Lin. The moment he closed in, Wang Lin's hands formed a seal, and his left palm pushed forward. His eyes revealed a strange light, and all his origin energy and his ancient god power went into his left palm. A giant palm print appeared, and in an instant, all the origin energy in the area began to gather. Then the palm print turned solid and charged at the incoming Tuo Sen. You are merely a devil of 2C, yet you dare to call yourself a god. Wang Lin roared as the palm print closed in on Tuo Sen. Tuo Sen growled and raised his hand. He mercilessly tried to rip the palm print apart. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the void trembled. The star domain of the Moon Clan felt like it was going to collapse. The palm print was unexpectedly torn in half and split into 2 parts by Tuo Sen. After using the war spirit print, Wang Lin didn't think it would stop Tuo Sen. At the same time, he raised his left hand and placed it against Tuo Sen's right arm just like Master Lu Fu back then. He pointed at the back of his left hand with his right. It was as if endless origin energy was dragged into his left hand, and he began a frontal confrontation with Tuo Sen. A roar echoed as Wang Lin coughed out blood, and a powerful impact hit his body. Popping sounds echoed inside his body as he was knocked back into another ancient god statue. Large amounts of ancient god power entered his body. Tuo Sen's giant body paused once more from Wang Lin's attack, but he continued to move forward. He opened his mouth and inhaled. A large portion of the ancient god aura here was absorbed by him. Weak, weak, weak. Wang Lin, this god has given you nearly 2,000 years to grow, yet you are still so weak. With a bang, Tuo Sen landed on the ground with all the ancient god statues. The moment he landed, the earth trembled violently. His right hand rose into the air, covering the sky, and reached toward Wang Lin. He didn't want to kill Wang Lin, but capture him alive. The moment his hand closed in, Wang Lin absorbed the ancient god aura like crazy. The blurry 7-star vortex rotated rapidly as if it was going to solidify. The ancient god aura was divided into 2 parts. Wang Lin couldn't compare to Tuo Sen, but he still took almost 40% of it. As Tuo Sen's hand reached out, Wang Lin let out a roar, and the ancient god power in his body surged. As his ancient god power surged, the blood sword flew out, giving out a monstrous red light. Ancient god spell, God punch. Wang Lin's roar was heaven-shaking. He wouldn't easily use ancient god spells because they required large amounts of ancient god energy. He was an ancient god who had only lived for less than 2,000 years. He couldn't compare to Tu Sai. However, after borrowing the dense ancient god aura, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to use an ancient god spell that a 6-star ancient god could use. God punch. Both his hands formed fists, with the blood sword in the center. Wang Lin's body turned into a vortex and shot at Tuo Sen's right fist. An ancient god shadow appeared as he collided with Tuo Sen's right hand. A thunderous rumble shook the world. God Punch released all ancient god power in an instant to form a punch that could destroy the heavens. Tuo Sen's right punch trembled and he was forced into the air. Wang Lin's body sprayed out blood. He was covered in blood as he was knocked into the ground. Be destroyed by this god. Tuo Sen's right hand was numb and his mind was shaken. He didn't expect Wang Lin to grow so much in such a short period of time. He no longer used his hand, but the 6 stars between his eyebrows flew out to surround Wang Lin. He was going to devour Wang Lin like how he devoured third-step cultivators. At this moment of crisis, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light. He was waiting for this moment. Tuo Sen, do you think Tusi really died? Wow! After Wang Lin spoke, Even the expression of someone as strong as Tuo Sen changed greatly. A great change suddenly took place. In dreams, Leo sees his video standing in third place on the popular charts. Hoping to garner more fan support, and looking for help from you all to climb even higher in the rankings this month. Chapter 1313. The First Predestined Battle. 3. Do you think Tusei really died? These words were like a bolt of thunder arching across the sky. It entered Tuo Sen's mind and hit his weak point. Tuo Sen was extremely arrogant. He wasn't even afraid of the heavens. However, if there was one person he feared the most, it was Tusei. He was born from a devil in Tusei's heart, and had always held unimaginable fear toward Tusei. Although he had controlled Tusei's body throughout these countless years, he had an incredible speculation. Did Tusei die or not? He wasn't sure, and he didn't dare to think about it, even though all signs pointed to Tusei being dead from the flowing ink transformation divine technique. If you want to devour me, you can try. When I, Wang Lin, die, that will also be the moment Tusei awakens. Then, you will be annihilated as well. Wang Lin's voice echoed across the void. Tuo Sen's mind trembled, and the 6 stars stopped rotating. A rare sign of hesitation and shock appeared in his eyes. Just as his mind was in chaos, and the hesitation that shouldn't appear had appeared, a shocking change occurred in the Moon Clan's domain. Howling sounds came from the collapsed moonlight, and a powerful aura came from all directions like a storm. This sound echoed across the entire Moon Clan domain. God-sealing formation, open. An ancient voice filled with madness, excitement, and hidden fear echoed across the star domain. As his voice echoed, shadows appeared in the silent Moon Clan domain. There were men and women, and all of them had a crescent moon mark between their eyebrows. There were simply too many of them, no less than 100,000, and now they filled the surroundings. Each of them were in locations that had been calculated countless times to form this God-sealing formation. The God-sealing formation was used to seal gods, ancient gods. Aside from the many cultivators, all the cultivation planets were placed according to this giant formation. When the old man roared, the entire world suddenly changed. The void was no more. It was replaced by moonlight. The world had disappeared only to be replaced by endless moonlight. A giant crescent moon appeared in the sky. Endless moonlight came out of it and enveloped everything. There was an old man of the Moon Clan sitting on each of the hundreds of cultivation planets in the star domain. Each of them activated their full power to allow the moonlight to reach a peak. For the Moon Clan, dead ancient gods couldn't compare to alive ancient gods, and a royal ancient god no less. This held shocking allure for them. If they could seal a living royal ancient god to become their slave, just thinking about it was enough to make any Moon Clan member's origin soul shake in excitement and let out a roar. Once they succeeded, the Moon Clan could rise up once more. In order to wait for this day, the Moon Clan had prepared for countless years so that one day they could seal a living ancient god. When Tuo Sen arrived years ago while they felt fear, they were also filled with excitement. They prepared the formation their ancestor had left and waited for Tuo Sen's arrival. Originally, according to their understanding, as an ancient god, Tuo Sen would certainly seek out the Moon Clan. However, they waited for more than 10 years, and Tuo Sen didn't come. While the Moon Clan continued to wait, Tuo Sen finally arrived after being lured by Wang Lin. What made the entire Moon Clan excited was that there wasn't just one royal ancient god, but 2. The formation was activated and the world was covered in moonlight. This world of moonlight was a space the Moon Clan ancestor had created to seal ancient gods. Once trapped inside, it was extremely difficult to escape. Tuo Sen was still shocked by Wang Lin when the Moon Clan suddenly appeared and activated the formation. The moonlight shrouded the world, and this made Tuo Sen irritated. His 6 stars unexpectedly didn't devour Wang Lin. They returned to him, then his right arm smashed into his surroundings. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The moonlight moved like silk and unexpectedly didn't collapsed, but instead, twisted. The endless moonlight began to wrap around Tuo Sen and Wang Lin. It was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, it was as if a layer of silk had been wrapped around them. Tuo Sen's eyes shined brightly, and he let out a roar at the sky. The ancient god roar spread out like crazy in this moonlight world as if it was going to collapse this world. However, as he roared, the moonlight twisted to form more silk that began to entangle him. Gentle moon slaughter, Kill the ancient goddess body, the ancient voice echoed, and in an instant, the amount of silk increased. It became sharp lines and began toe tack. These silk lines were extremely tough, and as Tuo Sen struggled, even though large amounts collapsed, they formed even more. Summoning the Moon Clan's treasure, God Extinguishing Fan, the ancient voice echoed. The moonlight in this world began to gather to form a 1,000-foot fan. The moment it appeared, it mercilessly waved. Thunderous rumbles echoed and a monstrous storm containing endless moonlight shot toward Tuo Sen. Tuo Sen roared as he broke a large amount of silk and threw a punch at the incoming storm. Wang Lin was also surrounded by endless silk. The blood sword formed a vortex around him, cutting all the silk. However, the silk here was endless, and it was impossible to cut it all. At this moment, the God-extinguishing fan waved and the storm also hit him. When the roaring wind swept at Wang Lin, he retreated. As he retreated, the moonlight from the storm shot like swords and penetrated his body. If they were ordinary moonlight swords, Wang Lin could ignore them, but this moonlight contained the same aura as the heaven-splitting axe. It was extremely harmful to ancient gods. Tuo Sen was on the same boat. As he roared, his fists collided with the storm. The storm collapsed into countless swords that penetrated his body and left countless blood marks. Bold slaves, you dare to hurt this god? Now die! Tuo Sen was extremely angry. When he battled Wang Lin, he at least considered Wang Lin a member of his clan. However, these former slaves were like ants to him, and these ants had dared to injure him, so how could he not be angry? While furious, Tuo Sen seemed to become crazy as he unleashed a large amount of destruction in this moonlight world. However, the more he destroyed, the more silk formed. In the blink of an eye, the world was a blur and was enveloped by the silk. More than 10,000 Moon Clan members out of the 100. 0000 Moon Clan members coughed out blood and their bodies exploded because they couldn't withstand the rebound from the formation. They immediately died, but the crescent moon marks between their eyebrows flew out and landed on the formation. In an instant, those more than 10,000 dead Moon Clan members appeared as souls in the moonlight world. Use my clan's blood to raise the God Spirit. Use my clan's souls to collapse the God Spirit. The ancient voice was filled with madness. The 10,000 souls began to expand and form moons. This caused the moonlight in the world to reach a peak. These 10,000 moons rumbled, and more than half flew at Tuo Sen, while the remaining ones shot at Wang Lin. Summoning the Moon Clan's treasure, blood moon wings, blood sacrifice. The ancient voice echoed once more. This time, many of the thousands of Moon Clan members appeared in the moonlight world. They were holding fierce beasts in their hands, and all of them were struggling and roaring. As the ancient voice echoed, those Moon Clan members all showed ferocious expressions and killed the fierce beasts. Large amounts of blood and flesh splattered, but they were immediately absorbed by the formation. These thousands of cultivators were merely the first wave. After them, several more waves of cultivators appeared and sacrificed fierce beasts. Even the moonlight world was now filled with bloodlight. As the bloodlight continued to condense, two blood-colored wings appeared and shot at Wang Lin and Tuo Sen. Summoning the Moon Clan's treasure, ancient goddess 9 bones. The ancient voice was very clear this time. A man in black appeared in the void outside the formation. His expression was filled with maddening greed. After the old man spoke, a giant spatial crack appeared before him and 9 giant ancient god skulls flew out. These 9 skulls gave off dense ancient god aura, and were filled with crescent moon seals that were shrouded in moonlight. After they appeared, they shot into the formation and charged toward Wang Lin and Tuo Sen. Summoning the Moon Clan's treasure, God Decaying Liquid. The old man's white hair moved strangely. As he spoke those words, he bit the tip of his tongue and spat out black blood. The Moon Clan cultivators on the hundreds of cultivation planets that formed the formation bit the tips of their tongues and spat out black blood that contained a powerful stench. This blood seemed to have intelligence, and it gathered together, forming a sea of blood that contained a powerful stench. Then it rushed into the formation. From yesterday until now, Leo has only slept for 2 hours. Can't take it anymore. Today there's only the first watch. Leo wants to catch up on sleep. After the salon ends, the missing chapters will be compensated. Chapter 1314. The First Predestined Battle. 4. Great Moon God Slaying Spell. Blood Moon Wings. Ancient God S9 Bones. God-decaying liquid. Every one of these treasures were extremely powerful. They were prepared by the Moon Clan throughout countless years to capture an ancient god alive. It has to be said that aside from the ancient gods, devils and demons, the ones that understood the ancient gods the most was the Moon Clan. The Moon Clan had thought of countless methods to deal with the ancient gods. Tuosin's roar echoed inside the moonlight world. Facing the countless crescent moons, he waved his arms, and thunderous rumbles echoed as all the crescent moons that closed in on him collapsed. The blood moon wings closed in and were also exploded by Tuosin with one punch. However, the blood moon wings turned into countless feathers that stabbed into Tuosin's body. What was even more powerful was the ancient god skulls. These skulls belonged to ancient gods that died countless years ago. They were like suns that crashed toward Tuosin. Wang Lin's expression was also gloomy as the blood swords circled around him. His hands formed all kinds of spells to resist the crescent moons. The blood moon wings flew by and turned into countless feathers that pierced through his body. Fresh blood covered his body. He couldn't even retreat as that moonlight silk had wrapped around his body. As for the ancient god skulls, they didn't head toward Wang Lin. They were all focused on Tuosin. They created earth-shattering howls as they closed in on Tuosin and suddenly collapsed. An indescribable impact instantly erupted. Even someone as strong as Tuosin coughed out blood, and his expression became even more ferocious. The Moon Clan was using everything they had saved up over countless years to capture an ancient god alive. The 9 ancient god skulls were the Moon Clan's clan-saving treasure. Each one of them was equal to a third-step cultivator exploding. The power of 9 of them collapsing at once was unimaginable. However, compared to them, the god-decaying liquid was even more precious. This god-decaying liquid was injected into every Moon Clan member at birth, and it came from an unknown source. Even the Moon Clan didn't know where it came from. They only knew that countless years ago, when they betrayed the ancient gods, it had successfully killed an ancient god before. After being nourished by the Moon Clan for countless years, the power of the god-decaying liquid was terrifying. At this moment, the blood sea created by the god-decaying liquid entered the moonlight world and surrounded Wang Lin and Tuosin. It formed a giant blood vortex. Wang Lin immediately felt the vortex melting his ancient god power, and a powerful sense of danger entered his mind. Tuosin's expression immediately became even more serious. However, these weren't the only things the Moon Clan had prepared. They had prepared for countless years, and this was merely a part of it. The old man stared at the formation as he roared, summoned the Moon Clan's treasure. Ancient god eyes! 2 blood-red eyes appeared in the formation. The eyes seemed to give off a powerful scent of blood, and they were looking at Tuosin and Wang Lin. Summoned the Moon Clan's treasure. Giant spirit bell. A giant ancient bell appeared in the world. It rang fiercely, creating ripples that entered the formation. Summoned the Moon Clan's treasure. 9th extinction spirit. The old man's hands formed a seal and he let out a heaven-shattering roar. Blood came out of his orifices and his white hair moved strangely before him. A giant green phantom suddenly appeared. It was impossible to see the appearance of the phantom, but its entire body gave off a green glow. When Tuosin saw this, his pupils shrank. When Wang Lin saw this green light, he jumped. He vaguely recognized that the green light coming from the phantom was exactly the same as the aura from the ancient god skull under the demon spirit. Land. Every single treasure was made specifically for dealing with ancient gods. If they were used against third-step cultivators, they might be a bit lacking, but toward ancient gods, they were deadly. Tuosin jerked his body and let out a roar. A powerful impact pushed the sea of blood away, and then he looked at Wang Lin. At this moment, he no longer hesitated. His 6 stars flew out toward Wang Lin. After devouring you and completing the fusion, this god will break this sealing formation. Then I am going to slaughter the Moon Clan until rivers of blood flow. Tuosin, I have Tusi's memory inheritance. If you devour me, our inheritances will merge and Tusi will awaken. Do you not believe me? Give it a try. Wang Lin smiled coldly and didn't resist. He let the 6 stars close in as he stared coldly at Tuosin. These words hit Tuosin's weak point once more. He let out a mad roar and his eyes glowed red. You just want the knowledge of the spell that can destroy this seal. You don't have to devour me to do it. If we work together, it will be a win-win for both of us. While I, Wang Lin, am no match for you, if you remain stubborn, you will die once Tusi awakens. Are you confident in escaping from 2C? At this moment, as the sea of blood closed in, the ancient god-eye's gaze locked on, creating a powerful aura. The ripples of the bell closed in, and finally the phantom charged in with a destructive aura. There were also the countless moonlight silk threads surrounding the area. Both of us are ancient gods. How can we let these slaves seal us? If you believe me, we can deal with them first, and then I'll naturally give you an answer. Wang Lin didn't even look at the treasures closing in as he waited for Tuo Sen's answer. Tuo Sen was afraid to gamble. He wasn't sure if Wang Lin's memories really did contain such a thing. However, even if it was false, 9,999 times out of 10,000 times, as long as there was that a chance it was true, he wouldn't dare to risk it. Once he lost, 2C would revive. He had no confidence facing 2C as he would without a doubt die. Tuo Sen clenched his teeth and growled good. The way he saw it, once these slaves were dealt with, Wang Lin would have nowhere to run. He would capture Wang Lin, and then have all the time he needed to slowly find out if what Wang Lin had said was true or not. If what he said is true, I'll simply give up the chance of becoming 9-star ancient god, and destroy his inheritance of memories so there will be no chance of 2C awakening. When Tuo Sen agreed, Wang Lin's hands formed seals and waved. At the same time, he chanted in the language of the ancient gods. When the world was born, the ancient order split into 3. The first was the ancient gods. They walked against the heavens and battled against the world. They would ravage everything, destroy the heavens, and break the world. 8-star ancient god spell, Void. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light, and the 6 ancient god stars between his eyebrows rotated like crazy. Ancient god power filled his hands. In an instant, as the various Moon Clan treasures closed in, a deformed rune appeared before his hands. Although this rune was incomplete, it gave off a heaven-shaking aura that could cause the heavens to collapse. This was an aura of destructive that could disintegrate all spells and even heaven itself. This was Void, the ancient god's void power that could destroy the heavens and shatter the earth. Wang Lin roared, Tuo Sen, ancient god power. Tuo Sen clenched his teeth and waved his right hand. His 6 ancient god stars rotated, giving off ancient god power several times more power than Wang Lin's. It rushed into the incomplete rune. In an instant, the rune began to move and went from incomplete to complete. The complete rune appeared in the world. This was a rank 8 spell, an ancient god spell that hadn't appeared in countless years. The expression of the old man outside the formation changed greatly. The rune suddenly gave off a bright light. This light was between black and white. It was completely gray. It spread like crazy with Wang Lin and Tuo Sen as the center. The god-decaying blood was pushed back. The ancient god eyes immediately exploded. The intense ripples immediately dissipated. And even the green shadow struggled for a moment before vanishing because it wasn't pure enough. The surrounding moonlight silk threads suddenly shattered. Everything was pushed back by the gray light. Invisible cracks formed in the moonlight world that formed the god-sealing formation. Summoning the Moon Clan's first treasure, ancient god remnant bone. The old man in white roared like crazy, and a giant spatial crack suddenly appeared. This spatial rift was ripped open wide, and an indescribable pressure came out from within. A finger the size of half a cultivation planet slowly came out of the spatial crack. There was no flesh or blood on his finger, only bones. This was a middle finger bone. Destroy God. The old man let out a heaven-shattering roar. At the same time, the 100,000 surrounding Moon Clan cultivators all released the same roar. Destroy God! When the Moon Clan betrayed the ancient gods, they had destroyed gods countless years ago. Now they still wanted to destroy gods, the gods that had helped them countless years ago. The roar of 100,000 people was earth-shattering. It spread as a powerful sound wave. This is the finger of a 9-star ancient god. At this moment, Tuo Sen's expression changed greatly. The moment the ancient broken finger bone appeared, the god-sealing formation collapsed and touched the broken finger bone. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Tuo Sen coughed out blood and he was thrown into the distance. Popping sounds came from Wang Lin's body as all the bones in his body broke. They were thrown in 2 different directions. The giant finger bone wasn't damaged at all when it landed. The moment they were thrown out, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to use the devouring spell. Black fog surrounded his body. Using the powerful impact, he rushed into the formation of people, and the black fog scattered. Miserable screams echoed as he began absorbing like crazy. Everywhere he passed, the Moon Clan members withered into skeletons and collapsed. Even further away, Tuo Sen roared and began his counterattack. Aimlessly wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 131, Is He a Fat Sheep? Sun Yukai let out a laugh as he reached out to grab Wang Lin's shoulder and said, "Let us not talk about her anymore. Brother Ma, there is a transfer array to enter the ravine just ahead." Wang Lin's shoulder moved to dodge the hand. He said, "That is good. Let's quickly go so we can enter the valley sooner." With that, he flew forward. Sun Yukai's hand hit empty air, but his expression didn't change as he asked, "Brother Ma, did you come out by yourself this time?" He casually followed Wang Lin. Wang Lin sneered, but his expression didn't show any abnormality as he answered, "That's right, I am the only one that came this time." Sun Yukai let out a laugh and whispered, "I guess Brother Ma secretly left the sect and came to the ravine to get some technique jades. I heard that in 3 months, it will be the War God S Shrine S5 Palace competition. At that time, Brother Ma can use them to become famous." Wang Lin faintly smiled, but didn't say a word. Seeing Wang Lin's reaction, Sun Yukai sneered, "Little brat, it doesn't matter if what you say is true or false. Since you've met your grandfather today, consider yourself unlucky. Hey, I'll use your body to make a puppet. I believe that Li Qiqing won TB2 on guard against you." He was thinking this, but to ensure that everything would go as planned, he took out a jade before Wang Lin and said, "Brother Ma, I'll call a friend over. He's very close. When he gets here, we can go through the transfer array together. That way, we can save a spirit stone." There was memory of a transfer array in Ma Liang's memory. It cost a spirit stone to open the transfer array, and every time it opened it could transfer up to 3 people. So there was no issue with Sun Yukai's suggestion. After seeing Wang Lin nodding his head, Sun Yukai placed the jade on his forehead and threw it into the air. After a few flashes of light, the jade disappeared without a trace. Wang Lin followed Sun Yukai. As they flew, he noticed that the farther they went, the more deserted it got. There were more and more big and small volcanoes around them. Some of the volcanoes spat out black smoke. Afraid that Wang Lin would become suspicious, Sun Yukai quickly explained, "Don't worry, Brother Ma. The transfer array is not far away. I don't know what has been going on recently, but all of the volcanoes have been releasing black smoke. I remember that the 4 great sects' nascent soul ancestors just finished sealing them last year." Wang Lin's expression became cold as he laughed. "Yes, this place is indeed deserted. A very good place. Especially these volcanoes. After killing someone, you can just toss their body into them. That will save yourself from using a fireball technique." Sun Yukai's body suddenly stopped. He forced a smile and said, "Brother Ma." Before he even finished speaking, sounds of wind and thunder came in from the distance along with a black sword. In the blink of an eye, the sword arrived near them. When the light dissipated, it revealed a skinny, middle-aged man. His eyes revealed a ruthless light. This person was wearing all black. Even the flying sword under his feet emitted a black light. Both of his hands were covered in black smoke. He didn't even look at Wang Lin as he said to Sun Yukai, "He is the fat sheep?" Wang Lin looked at him and noticed that this person's cultivation level was higher than Sun Yukai's. This person had already reached the pseudo-core formation stage and could compete with Li Qiqing. Sun Yukai's face suddenly smiled like a flower. His voice sounded like he was trying to please the person as he said, "Senior martial brother, it is him. I saw that girl, Li Muan, and her brother Li Qiqing have a good impression of him. If we turn him into a puppet and use him to approach them, we might have a better chance." The black-clothed man turned his head toward Wang Lin. He was surprised that Wang Lin didn't run away. Wang Lin was only a mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator, so he didn't think of Wang Lin as a threat at all as he coldly said, "Brat, you can die now." With that, the flying sword under his feet shot out toward Wang Lin's chest. At the same time, the black-clothed man jumped forward and clapped his hand a few times. The black mist spread out, forming a giant skull. It quickly followed the black sword toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He didn't even mind the mist or the flying sword as he pointed his finger at the middle-aged man and said, "Destroy!" The moment the G realm appeared, the sky darkened. The moment the G-Realm Divine Sense appeared, the soul was destroyed. Wang Lin was invincible among Foundation Establishment cultivators. If he reaches the core formation stage, he will be the king of core formation cultivators. If he reaches the nascent soul stage, then he will be the #1 cultivator under the soul formation stage in countless countries. The middle-aged man's eyes suddenly bulged out. He could feel that his soul was hit by a powerful destructive force. He didn't have any power to resist, so his soul instantly shattered. When he revealed a look of fear, he had already died. His body then went limp. Even until his death, he still didn't understand how it all happened. Everything happened too quickly. The flying sword didn't even travel half the distance to its destination when the divine sense from the middle-aged man broke and it fell from the sky. The black skull followed behind it and slowly dissipated with the death of the middle-aged man. Wang Lin waved his sleeves, and the black flying sword quickly flew into his hand. He slapped his bag of holding, and the piece of metal came out. Devour that black mist. After saying those words, Wang Lin no longer paid any attention to it and turned to Sun Yukai, who was completely dumbfounded. A flash of red light appeared on the piece of metal as the devil came out and jumped on the black mist. He didn't stop to consider whether or not he could even devour or digest the black cloud as he devoured it with a bitter smile. He didn't dare to disobey Wang Lin as he knew how scary Wang Lin was. Sun Yukai finally realized what was going on as he took a few steps back. He quickly jumped to the ground and disappeared. The devil's eyes turned and he slowed down on devouring the black mist. He was pretending to still be devouring. However, Wang Lin's next sentence caused him to frown again. Follow me. With that, Wang Lin's body moved and his G-Realm Divine Sense quickly spread out. He chased northwest. The devil revealed a struggling expression as he backed up instead of charging forward. Suddenly, he let out a miserable scream as green gas appeared on his body, causing him to not dare to hesitate anymore. Wang Lin retrieved the divine sense he used to punish the devil and focused on chasing Sun Yukai. He was very interested in Sun Yukai's speed. He knew that his own speed was lacking compared to Sun Yukai's, just like with the middle-aged woman who could travel 10,000 kilometers in 2 breaths. If someone like that wanted to kill him, he wouldn't even be able to run. When Sun Yukai caught up to him before, he was already using his full speed, so it showed how fast Sun Yukai was. Therefore, Wang Lin didn't kill him. He decided to catch him alive to get the technique out of him. Sun Yukai was scared now, ever since he started cultivating 30 years ago. Since he was a 15th layer QI condensation cultivator, he had been killing people, but he had always been very careful and only killed people weaker than him. He never dared to kill people stronger than him. Over the years, he used all of the treasures he had found and traded them at the Ravine Workshop for pills to increase his cultivation level. This caused his cultivation level to continue to rise, but as his cultivation level increased, normal pills lost their effect. High-quality pills were either hard to find or the prices were too high, so he set his sights on the Luohe sect. The Luohe sect was famous for formations in alchemy, especially when it came to pills. If the pill was refined by the Luohe sect, then it must be a high-quality pill. Sun Yukai's target was the Luohe sect's Li Muan. He wanted to get some pills or pill recipes from her. But her older brother Li Qiqing's cultivation level was a step above his at pseudo-core formation, completely above him, who had just entered the late stage of foundation establishment. The current Sun Yukai wished his speed could be even faster. Even now, his mind was recalling the terrifying moment from before. Fourth senior apprentice brother was a pseudo-core formation cultivator, yet he was so easily killed. If that Ma Liang had used some powerful treasure, then he wouldn't be so scared, but he didn't even see the shadow of a magic treasure. He only heard Ma Liang say the word destroy and fourth senior apprentice brother just died. What kind of technique is that? Thinking about this, Sun Yukai couldn't help but feel his skull go numb. The more he couldn't understand, the more terrified he was. What cultivation level would you need to be able to kill a pseudo-core formation cultivator with just one word? Could it be that Ma Liang had already reached the core formation stage? No. Sun Yukai quickly rejected the idea because he had met core formation cultivators before. Even if the core formation elders were to fight a pseudo-core formation cultivator, it wouldn't be this easy. Although they would win for sure, they couldn't just kill them with one word like it was some sort of heavenly decree. Sun Yukai's heart trembled. Could it be a nascent soul cultivator? But he soon rejected this idea as well. He had seen a nascent soul cultivator act before. It was when the demon sect ancestor killed a late-stage Foundation establishment traitor. In front of everyone's eyes, he only threw out a sword and the traitor died while running away. He didn't even have any chance to dodge or resist. But still, in his eyes, when he compared Wang Lin killing a pseudo-core formation cultivator with just a word to the nascent soul elder who used a flying sword, it was clear who was stronger. With that, his mind suddenly went blank. Could it be that he is soul formation? When Sun Yukai said the word soul formation, all of the strength left his body. The more he thought about it, the more accurate it felt. Sun Yukai bittered muttered, a soul formation expert, that is someone of legends. How is it possible? But if not soul formation, how could he kill fourth senior apprentice brother with just one word? Rumor has it that soul formation cultivators can control the ways of the heavens. So killing a pseudo-core formation cultivator with one word would make sense. I am being hunted by a soul formation expert. Wishing for the like button for the video. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 1315. The First Predestined Battle. 5. After leaving the formation, Wang Lin knew Tuo Sen wouldn't let him go. At this moment he was seriously injured, but he clenched his teeth and devoured like crazy. Not all of the Moon Clan members were strong. Most of the 100,000 people didn't last even one blow. Wang Lin howled as he moved and devoured countless people. His injuries recovered at an astonishing rate. All the bones in his body repaired themselves and his wounds rapidly recovered. The entire Moon Clan star domain was a mess. All those elders sitting on the cultivation planets coughed out blood when the God-sealing formation collapsed, but they all became focused. Their eyes started glowing red, then a portion of them went toward the black fog Wang Lin formed, while the rest charged toward Tuo Sen under the lead of the white-haired old man. The white-haired old man let out a roar and waved his right hand. His body began to expand, and the crescent moon mark between his eyebrows rotated. His body was thousands of feet tall, almost equal to an ancient god. This was a spell their Moon Clan had created after countless years of research in an attempt to become ancient gods themselves. As they had absorbed ancient god power, they could simulate an ancient god to a certain extent. He wasn't the only person who turned into a giant thousands of feet tall. There were 9 in total. Once these 9 people turned into giants, they obtained terrifying power, and thunderous rumbles echoed as they battled Tuo Sen. However, they were not Tuo Sen's match at all. As Tuo Sen roared, they were all pushed back. When those old men got close to Wang Lin, he would merge with the world and disappear. Then he would reappear elsewhere and begin devouring like crazy. Mournful screams echoed through the void, and in just a moment more than 30,000 Moon Clan members were devoured by Wang Lin. Most of his injuries recovered immediately. This time, without waiting for the Moon Clan elders to charge at him, Wang Lin pounced on them. Tuo Sen let out a roar. Shatter for me! With a bang, one of the old men who imitated an ancient god exploded from Tuo Sen's punch. However, before his body could dissipate, black fog immediately wrapped around the old man. Wang Lin had already been paying attention to the battle here. He wrapped around the old man before he died and began devouring. The entire Moon Clan was a mess. The people of the Moon Clan quickly retreated, their faces filled with shock and horror. This was the first time many of them had laid eyes on a living ancient god, and the first time they saw how powerful an ancient god was. Although this was the first time Tuo Sen and Wang Lin had worked together, they understood each other well. However, this all broken when Tuo Sen's eyes turned cold and his right hand reached for Wang Lin after he blew up that old man. I don't care if what you said was the truth or a lie. You won't be able to escape today. Wang Lin had already been on guard. When Tuo Sen's right hand reached over, he revealed a sneer. As he retreated, his hands formed a seal while the veins on his face bulged, and he let out a roar at Tuo Sen. Ancient God spell, mysterious God star. As he spoke, His hand pointed to between his eyebrows. The 6 stars between his eyebrows began to rotate and then flew out. They formed a giant vortex. This scene was shockingly familiar to Tuo Sen devouring cultivators with his stars. Instant create. Originally, Wang Lin couldn't use ancient god spells like this. He didn't have the ancient god power to support this, but he had calculated all of this. When he used the void spell, he had saved half of the ancient god power Tuo Sen had poured in. One half was used to cause Tuo Sen to become injured by the ancient god finger, and the second was being used right now. At this moment, this vortex appeared and gave off a powerful ancient god aura. All of Wang Lin's ancient god energy, as well as the portion he had saved from the earlier spell, was used on this spell. Tuo Sen's punch immediately collided with this vortex. Wang Lin coughed out blood and then quickly retreated. He raised his right hand and mercilessly sliced down with the blood sword. Tuo Sen also didn't feel good. He was injured in succession, and he didn't expect Wang Lin to use an ancient god spell. He felt an endless suction force coming from the vortex. A portion of his ancient god power inside his punch had been sucked away and used against his punch. His right arm felt numb and paused for a moment. At this moment, Wang Lin's blood sword sliced at his right palm. The sword swept by and Tuo Sen's index finger was cut off. Since the two had begun battling, this was the greatest injury Wang Lin had inflicted on Tuo Sen. Tuo Sen's eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent. At this moment, he didn't even think about devouring. All he wanted to do was kill this fellow clan member. However, just as Wang Lin and Tuo Sen began to battle, the elders injured by Tuo Sen immediately retreated. The person with the highest status was the white-haired old man. He had a ferocious expression, and blood was flowing down the corner of his mouth. He naturally saw that Wang Lin was no match for Tuo Sen. Once a winner was decided between the two ancient gods, then their Moon Clan would be doomed to die. Thus, he didn't mind helping Wang Lin. This was also his Moon Clan's opportunity. Fellow clan members, shatter your moon spirits and offer them as sacrifice for the Moon Clan. The old man's body immediately began to swell as he mercilessly pointed down and shouted in a hoarse voice, summoning the Moon Clan treasure again. Ancient God, remnant bone. The moment his words echoed, the moonlight around his body became monstrous. The ancient god finger that was stabbed deep into the ground suddenly rose into the air and charged toward Tuo Sen. This ancient god finger closed in extremely fast. Tuo Sen was being attacked from all sides and was facing many people. Due to his finger being cut off by Wang Lin, he was ferocious. He waved his hands and caught the giant ancient god finger. The veins on his body swelled as if his body couldn't bear the force. He let out a roar as his stars rotated rapidly. One of the stars contained a third-step cultivator, and he didn't hesitate to explode that cultivator. An explosive force filled Tuo Sen, and he slowed the finger down. He let out a roar as the 6 stars between his eyebrows flew out and formed a vortex. So this isn't the bone of a 9-star ancient god, but of someone infinitely close to 9-star. Devour. He was going to absorb this almost 9-star ancient god finger like a third-step cultivator into his stars. At this moment, aside from the female third-step cultivator he had just absorbed, there was no one else left. Even Wang Lin was deeply shocked by this. He couldn't help but feel fear toward Tuo Sen's madness. He had seen madmen before, but none of them were as crazy as Tuo Sen. The ancient god aura inside the finger was like the sun. It couldn't be absorbed at all. Even an ancient god would be like an ant before it. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly lit up and revealed a strange light. If he can absorb, I can as well. Wang Lin clenched his teeth. He wasn't willing to let this opportunity go, especially since Tuo Sen was devouring this ancient god finger, so it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Wang Lin had a decisive nature. Once he made a decision, he wouldn't hesitate. He no longer retreated, and instead charged forward. He closed in on the ancient god finger and mercilessly chopped down with the blood sword. There was a thunderous bang, and a crack was created by the blood sword. As Tuo Sen absorbed like crazy, it was split in half. The sharpness of the blood sword was terrifying. The finger suddenly collapsed and a powerful shockwave spread out. A majority of this force rushed toward Tuo Sen, causing him to let out a scream. When the impact hit his body, he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. His body quickly retreated and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The force pushed half of the finger into his star vortex, and it was sealed inside a star. However, Tuo Sen was too seriously injured, so he continued to cough out blood. But he didn't give up on chasing Wang Lin. He struggled to stop himself from being thrown back. At this moment, the female third-step cultivator was sealed and released a glaring glow. Tuo Sen's body trembled, and his expression changed greatly. He unexpectedly abandoned the notion of chasing Wang Lin and quickly escaped while coughing out blood. The shockwave from the collapsed finger swept by. The white-haired old man from the Moon Clan was hit by the shockwave. Popping sounds came from his body, causing him to cough out blood. Then his body collapsed. His weakened origin soul escaped for his life. The surrounding Moon Clan members that hadn't escaped were hit by this shockwave. They exploded as if a giant palm had swept by. Countless people died. As for Wang Lin, he also coughed out blood as he was too close to the finger. Although a majority of it was directed at Tuo Sen, a good portion had gone toward Wang Lin. His body was unable to withstand it at all. However, the moment the shockwave closed in, Wang Lin let out a roar. A blue flame, heavenly thunder, karma, life and death, and true and false all erupted from his body. 5 essences appeared at the same time, forming a vortex to resist the shockwave. At the same time, Wang Lin's eyes flashed red and the G realm rushed out. Popping sounds continued to echo as Wang Lin's body continued to retreat. Carrying almost half of the ancient Godfinger, which was like a small cultivation planet, he began merging with the world. He was about to leave using spatial bending. However, the moment before he left, although his eyes were bloodshot and filled with exhaustion, there was still a flash of coldness within them. With a thought, a whip appeared around him. Soul Lasher. The moment the whip appeared, it immediately extended to infinite length and wrapped around the escaping origin soul of the white-haired old man. With a tug, the old man's origin soul was pulled back. Then Wang Lin disappeared from the Moon Clan star domain while carrying the giant ancient Godfinger. A fruitful trip. Wishing for the like button for the VIDEO, hoping to double the likes on the VIDEO. In the meantime, everyone, throw your spare ones here. Chapter 1316, Give Her to Me. Wang Lin couldn't guess what had happened to cause Tuo Sen to give up chasing him and escape so anxiously. He remembered that one of Tuo Sen's star had given off a dazzling glow before he escaped. Ripples slowly spread in a bright part of the ancient star system. The ripples were like the hearts of 2 lovers that were gradually getting more and more distant. Wang Lin staggered out of the center of the ripples. His face was pale, and the moment he appeared, he clawed at the void. A spatial crack appeared before him, and he held Li Qianmei in his arms. Li Qianmei's expression was even worse, and she began to wither. When Tuo Sen was hunting Wang Lin, he was afraid of injuring Li Qianmei, so he had surrounded her in origin energy to maintain flowing time and stored her inside his storage space. This allowed her to not be injured during Wang Lin and Tuo Sen's fated battle. However, being in the storage space was not as good as being right beside Wang Lin. In the short period of time that had passed during the battle, Li Qianmei had lost a lot of vitality. Looking at Li Qianmei's haggard face, Wang Lin's heart felt pain and sorrow. It was just like how he promised Li Muan back then that even if the heavens wanted her to die, he would take her back. He had also promised Li Qianmei that he would give it his all to prevent her from dissipating from this world. This was his promise as a man. His right arm gently held Li Qianmei. Wang Lin ignored his injuries and continued to use his origin energy to power the flowing time spell around Li Qianmei. He helped nourish her mind and life force. The starry sky was very quiet, without any disturbance. Even the world seemed to dim. There was only a man and woman silently flying across the starry sky. The half of the ancient god fingerbone was put in Wang Lin's storage space. He didn't have any mind to study it. Even the origin soul of the white-haired old man from the Moon Clan that was wrapped by the soul lasher was sealed, so he couldn't move and put into Wang Lin's storage space. Wang Lin didn't want anything to disturb him in this flight. He wanted to silently accompany Li Qianmei to Dao Master Blue Dream, or to be more accurate, to send her off for the last time. When I leave, you have to send me off, Li Qianmei's voice from 10 years ago echoed in Wang Lin's ears. Today, Wang Lin was fulfilling his promise from back then and sending Li Qianmei off. The beauty of space was not the bright nebulae or the flashing meteorites, but this extreme silence. In this silence, you could feel your own loneliness and experience the coldness of being the only one left in the world. Holding Li Qianmei, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a soft gaze. He moved toward the location of the Blue Silk Clan and was getting closer and closer. Starlight draped over their body and seemed to silently accompany them on their last journey. Li Qianmei was becoming weaker and weaker, and Wang Lin had to use even more flowing time on her. As he continued to use spatial bending, they got approach to the Blue Silk Clan through the vastness of space. The Blue Silk Clan's star domain was in a remote region, and Wang Lin silently moved forward. The Blue Silk Clan was one of the few rare clans that one shouldn't kill. Just like their name indicated, the hair of their clan members were all blue. The blue of pain and melancholy permeated the soul of every Blue Silk Clan member. The Blue Silk Clan didn't have much talent regarding cultivation or Tao. Throughout the ages, there weren't many powerful cultivators in the Blue Silk Clan except Tao Master Blue Dream, whose name echoed across the ancient star system. Before Tao Master Blue Dream became famous across the ancient star system, the Blue Silk Clan was a very small family. Although their cultivation levels were not high, they excelled in music, alchemy, treasure refining, and other non-mainstream practices. Their music skills had almost reached the peak of music. Every single Blue Silk Clan member was a master of music, and the members of the Blue Silk Clan were all beautiful. All the members, men and women, were all very good-looking. Due to all of this, the members of the Blue Silk Clan became favorite pets among powerful clans. This was a sorrow and pain to the Blue Silk Clan. This sadness permeated their hearts for a long time. This gave all the women of the Blue Silk Clan a strange sense of beauty, and the men of the clan were the same. There was no longer any joy in their music. It had become the only way to express the sorrow in their hearts as they became slaves to the large clans. They didn't have a home. Every single Blue Silk Clan member was taken away before reaching adulthood, with their life and death unknown. There was no chance of them ever coming back to their home. All of this lasted until the rise of Tao Master Blue Dream, which caused a drastic change. Tao Master Blue Dream was the most talented person in the Blue Silk Clan. Legends of him continued to spread across the ancient star system to this day. In the ancient star system, when you mentioned Tao Master Blue Dream, you wouldn't think of how strong he was, but how infatuated he was with love. In his life, he had only ever loved one woman. This was the pain and sorrow in his heart that had accompanied him for ages. Rumor had it that it was due to Tao Master Blue Dream's love that he was able to reach this step and become one of the 5 masters of the ancient star system. Even the sovereign dreaded him. The Blue Silk Clan became a big clan of the ancient star system due to Tao Master Blue Dream, but the nature of the clan didn't change. They quietly lived inside their huge star domain. The sadness in their music was gradually replaced by joy. They obtained their joy under the protection of Tao Master Blue Dream. To the Blue Silk Clan, Blue Dream was their deity, and he received the respect and admiration of the entire Blue Silk Clan. Mount Blue, the place he lived, had become a holy land for the Blue Silk Clan. However, even though there was joy in the Blue Silk Clan, the faint sadness in the music coming from Mount Blue would forever linger. Just like Tao Master Blue Dream's memory, that sadness had become eternal. At this moment, at the top of Mount Blue, there was a very ordinary house faintly swaying in the wind. Inside was a middle-aged man with blue hair, playing the zither before him. After a long time, he gradually raised his head. His appearance would make all other men in the world look dim. Even women paled in comparison to his handsomeness. It was as if his handsomeness shouldn't appear in the world. However, the fatigue and the reminiscence in his eyes gave him a melancholy aura that made him look old. He had a head of blue hair, but there was white hair near his sideburns. It was as if it was telling everyone that he had been unhappy for countless years. The middle-aged man's eyes revealed sadness as he lowered his head and looked at the zither before him. His hand slowly played. After a long time, the door was silently opened by someone, and a beautiful woman walked in. This woman was very beautiful. She was wearing pink clothes, and she gently approached him. The woman silently sat down by his side and softly said, "You still can't forget her." The middle-aged man didn't speak, and didn't even look up. He only stared at the zither, and the sadness in his eyes became even stronger. It has been a very long time, and she is already dead. Why are you still doing this? The woman bit her lower lip and looked at the man with a complicated expression. She isn't dead. The middle-aged man raised his head. His gaze was like lightning when it landed on the woman. But what difference is there with her now and being dead? She is already dead. The woman stared at the man with a mournful expression. The middle-aged man silently pondered. After a long time he stood up and calmly said, "Your eldest sister is not dead." Crystal tears appeared in the woman's eyes. The middle-aged man let out a sigh as he pushed open the door to the house and walked out. As he looked at the distant horizon, the sun gradually set. He took a step, and his body gave off a soft blue glow and he disappeared. The Blue Silk Clan's star domain was extremely vast. At this moment, at the edge of this star domain, a woman in white had calmly followed Wang Lin here. Just as she was about to enter the Blue Silk Clan's domain, the woman in white suddenly stopped and calmly looked ahead. Blue light silently appeared in the void before her. The middle-aged man that had disappeared from Mount Blue walked out. His eyes were cold, and he only said one word. "Scram." The woman in white silently pondered but remained unfazed. Her expression didn't change at all due to this word. After a long time, the woman in white calmly said, "He has already been chosen. You can protect him." Scram. Killing intent flashed across the middle-aged man's eyes. Although his voice was calm, an indescribable aura shot toward the woman in white. In an instant, an absolute killing intent spread out. The pupils of the woman in white suddenly shrank. She waved her right hand and drifted backwards. "He will have to come out." The woman's voice was still calm as she gradually retreated into the distance before disappearing. After moving for an unknown amount of time across the starry sky, Wang Lin brought Li Qianmei to the beautiful home of the Blue Silk Clan, the place where Tao Master Blue Dream was, and Li Qianmei's home. As Wang Lin moved forward, the vast space became brighter. The star domain the Blue Silk Clan was located in was very beautiful. Even the cultivation planets were like real stars that gave off a soft blue glow that spread very far. Wang Lin looked at the sleeping Li Qianmei in his arms and softly said, "Qianmei, we are here." Just at this moment, endless blue light came from the Blue Silk Clan's star domain. When the endless blue light appeared, a low voice echoed across the world. "Give her to me." Wishing for the like button for the video. Thinking nonsense. Wishing for the like button for the video.